down in my seat again and then have to adjust it back up.
I know it's like a game show deal playing Chase Duke around, as he slumps further and further into his chair. Hey, I want to say this is like show number 268. Like we say, when you count all the other stuff, over 300 shows. We've only been late once or twice. Unlike our city council, who's consistently like 5 or 6 minutes behind schedule. I don't know what their deal is, but that's okay.
I was noticing that. What? I don't know. Maybe they was trying to all agree behind closed doors which attorney they were going to put in the resolution.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Hmm.
I'm
So
just
yeah,
I'm just joking. I mean,
look, we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about tonight, and a lot of it, unfortunately, is going to deal with the city council again. But I will say this: look, they're asking questions. That whole back and forth about the water meters deal, and the lady from the whatever city department, I forget her name right off the top of my head, that came up with Amanda to help explain that. I mean, that girl's sharp.
heck yeah, and that's informative. I didn't know
Yeah,
anything about those meters and the differences in them and all that. I mean, that's yeah, you're right.
yeah.
Overall, they're having dialogue, they're having disagreements in public, and I don't like them kind of getting at each other's throats or whatever, but I mean that's the thing about politics is you get hot under the collar. It happens. That's part
Look,
of it.
I don't want it to be an echo chamber. And if anybody thinks politics of years gone by, let's just use DC as an example. I'll remind everybody they used to have actual duels, pull out the pistols and shoot at each other. There have been occasion where they have done that. So it's not like politics has always been friendly. I don't expect it to be friendly. I don't want it to
Yeah,
be friendly.
heck to the no. It needs to be messy. I mean, and I don't know. I think we're starting to see that in politics. It's needed to make its way into the local level for some time.
Right.
And it needs to be more of the debate needs to be out in the public. It doesn't need to be being done behind closed doors. I mean,
Yes, I want to see them argue. And look, I mean, they don't have to get vulgar, obscene, or anything like that, but kind of like on the show, you and I don't always agree. Sometimes we banter back and forth. We bantered back and forth with guests before and all that. So, yeah, I agree with you. It that part of it needs to be out in the public. It doesn't need to be just a group thing. And so I will give credit to the current city council and, of course, the new city council members and all that. And credit to Chris Smith. He's doing his best to try to navigate through some of this, what I call cleanup from the good old boys.
oh yeah, no doubt about it. All of this, everything that's transpiring is residual from the previous 4 years. And, it's unfortunate, but that's part of it. And, additionally, sometimes I say this because I've seen this take place this week. Uh, what people see in some of these meetings and the actions that they're taking, I mean, they're a lot more calculated than what it seems on the surface. There's reasons why some actions are taken that are just not obvious right out of the gate, and it's strategy. Like I'll give you an example. If you're, and I'm not saying this is the case, but I'm saying, if you're running a meeting and people are voting, if you're going to call for a vote and you're trying to move something in one direction, you don't freaking call the vote unless you know how the votes are going to go.
Right.
That's just being smart and
Hey,
wise.
all right. Squirrel moment for a second. Is it just me, or in the upper, I guess where you're sitting, right of the brim of your cap, do you have a feather on your cap? Or is that
You
an
can see that.
artifact in the video? Yes.
You can see that.
Yeah, it's like the feather from the Tom Hanks movie, Forrest Gump. There you go. Have you been out duck hunting?
It's
It's
a
not duck
feather.
season.
I'm just getting fired up.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean it, but ooh, that's another subject entirely. Talking about
Uh,
ducks.
oh yeah, done stirred the pot up with the old duckaroo. So All right. We're starting to get quite a few folks in here already at, I don't know, 50, 60 something folks. Welcome to everybody. If you're new, because we've had a lot of new people like start following the show, they may come in tonight. And for those that may watch it after the fact and later see this, if you don't know how this works, remember, we like commentary. Just remember a couple of rules: no obvious trolling. Don't be vulgar. You can cuss. We're all adults here. This is an adult show. It's not designed for kids. Blah, blah, blah. Just be aware that if you put a comment in there, Duke and I can see those comments, and we may put it up on the screen and we may talk about it. But anyway, other than that, our rules are pretty lax around this place.
Yeah, and sometimes there's a little bit of a delay on the comment, so we may not, that's not. In fact, I know one of our last shows there were some comments, and I actually didn't even know they made the comments until after the show was over. So don't be mad if we don't just immediately, respond to
Right.
somebody. But um, so primarily this show is going to be a lot of Bossier City because there have been some gems over the past
Oh,
week with Bossier City.
yeah, and we've been burning up the keyboard and the pixels with bossierwatch posting stuff on Facebook.
Well,
Look, it's
well,
like,
mostly you. Credit to you because you've been on top of it. I've been AWOL. All the credit goes to Rex Moncrief, no doubt.
well, see, I was out of town for a couple of days. We went down to New Orleans. That's a whole other story. I had a overall good time, but so I had all this pent up non-social media stuff, political stuff, and then boom, we have these investigative meeting or committee, and then the city council special meeting Friday, and it was golden for social media content. So it's like if I were a cat person, and I'm really not, I guess it would be more like putting a dog treat in front of a golden retriever or a chocolate or a Chessie or whatever. I just couldn't resist it.
Who knew Tahoes would be so last year
I mean, it's like
within a
deja
week?
vu. Yeah, it's like deja vu. We're just going in a big circle back to Tahoe Tommy, and credit to Wes Marriott for publishing some articles on that kind of stuff.
Hey, you want to hear a hilarious story? This is freaking hilarious. So, like, I'm in Bossier, right, and
Mm-hmm.
went out to get lunch for me and Kara, and I had to get fuel in my truck. So I'm in the fuel station, and I get through fueling. So I'm just going to pull over to Podna's, right, and I'm going to get some barbecue for lunch. As
Right.
I pull in, I see, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I see some public safety officials walking across in front of me, and I recognize them. They recognize me, and I kind of goose my truck at them. And they, kind of stopped, and I stopped, rolled my window down. And they say, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just counting unmarked Tahoes. Looks like y'all got what, 3, 4 in the parking lot here." Their eyes got real big, and they jetted into Podnas. It
Well,
was hilarious.
and look, in the big scheme of things, does unmarked Tahoes necessarily matter? Not really, except that it's the law. And they're supposed to be the city leaders and following the law. And they're not doing it, and they're flaunting it. And people say, well, how can they get by with that? Well, let me answer that question before we go to the break. It's easy for them to get by with that because you have to have a DA's office or an AG's office that is willing to look into this stuff and possibly prosecute somebody or at least smack them on the wrist, or you got to file a lawsuit. And it's what, 400 to 600, $800 to file a lawsuit? How many people are going to go do that?
Well, yeah, who's going to commit their money out of their pocket to do it? I mean, we know Wes Marriott will. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
good, good.
and I want to do a little foreshadowing. I'm glad you said that. I found the transcript. So I have some
Oh,
screenshots from that transcript here in a little bit from the West Marriott case. So a little foreshadowing
ex-
there, folks.
excellent, excellent. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, just definitely what you said as we go to break here and we come back. Just definitely, people like, how can they do that? How can they do that? Well, they do it from week to week, week to
Yeah.
week. We and say, oh, no records responsive. But
Right.
and they say, well, how do
Oh,
y'all get stuff? Or
what?
why do y'all even try?
All right. So
And
I've, I've
why do we try? It's you and I were talking about it.
Well, and look, I'm glad you said that too, because it's a little more foreshadowing, because I've been busy in the notes, and my notes are a little haphazard, Mr. Lowry. You'll have to forgive me, but I have some screenshots from a public information request that is still unanswered that is just ironic, along with the West Marriott transcript screenshot. So we'll share all that here in a little bit. Hey, I want to. Hadn't seen him in a while. Our good friend, Mr. Jeremy Gallman, says, "Does Hammonds need to worry about the Zamboni? Just wondering."
Hammonds Hammonds has probably got his own Zamboni with a bulldozer blade on the front.
Probably. If the Zamboni hits Hammonds, the Zamboni is going to stop in its tracks.
Yeah,
All
no
right.
doubt.
All right. And so before the break, I see Miss Ruth is in the comments as well. Miss Ruth, just to let you know, I ran out of time to bring your coffee mug by today. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. I will try to get that over. I'll text you tomorrow and try to drop that by to you tomorrow as well. All right. You ready to do the break deal? And then we'll come back and dive right into all this stuff.
Let's do it.
All right, so folks, y'all know the drill. We will be gone for about 2, maybe 3 minutes, whatever it actually is, while we run the intro and all that. This is the time that you share, tag, and text people. Say, hey, those two guys are on their soapbox again, and share this out. We will be right back in just a couple of minutes.
Folks knew a lot of the back office on the politicians that they think walk on water, they would be shocked. There's an old wound from a knife in my back that just is giving me heck lately, and it's just really irritating, so I have to kind of wiggle around a little bit.
And I titled it "A Shot Across the Bow of the Good Old Boys."
Just, they feel helpless, they don't feel heard, they have nowhere to turn.
Some Republicans as well believe that government has the answers. And let me tell y'all something. I don't know anything government does well. Nothing.
And aren't there laws that say that you have public meetings so that the public can have accountability of their elected officials?
As a member of the media, I'm very concerned about what I've just heard.
Well, I'm not thinking Star Wars at all. I'm thinking zombie apocalypse. Oh, folks coming from the border down there?
Yeah, it's going to border. It's actually going to Mexico, the buses.
Doesn't mean they interpret it the same way that I do. For instance, the Second Amendment. I take it very literally. That's been interpreted different ways in the court system all the way up to SCOTUS. We're still right now combined on both pages and YouTube at 264 people watching. That is amazing, folks. Through conscious, shocking actions, which in turn would enrich sitting city council members Scott Irwin and David Montgomery Jr. In theory, it's an every week thing. We got to double check and make sure it's like a miracle any of this actually works.
This live broadcast is brought to you by the Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 25 years in the mortgage business. Pelican Training and Consulting. Reach out to Julie Ferris. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And folks sharing information and watching out. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go. So, again, like I was telling you, Mr. Lowry, you'll see under our city council meeting notes, I put a note in there that says Rex's notes are not necessarily in order. They are very random. As I was thinking about things, I was jotting it down.
Well, look, I am just proud of you. You're taking an interest in notes because so many shows, you're like, oh, well, wait a minute. We're halfway through the show. Let me pull the notes up. I'm like, what the heck are we doing? You're just winging it, and it ain't even Wednesday.
I know, but look, just to remind everybody, we do wing it a lot on this show. I mean, we generally have some notes, or try to anyway, but a lot of it we just really kind of ad lib as we go. Hey, speaking of that, I want to mention one quick thing. Speaking of coffee mugs, so in celebration of the great parking lot scandal if you go to Bossier Watch right now, go to shop.bossierwatch.com. You can use discount code Parking Lot Scandal and get $1.50 or 10% or whatever it is off the coffee mugs. We've actually had a couple of people order them. We appreciate all that. Every little bit helps pay the bills, because bringing all these cool graphics that, for amateurs and all that is not free to do. It actually costs us money to do the show every week, so we appreciate that. And of course, Mr. Lowry, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we appreciate Acadiana Mortgage, y'all's mortgage company. Also, Pelican Training, the Ferrises have always been good supporters of ours. And everybody that, like we said in the intro, that likes and shares and comments and goes to meetings and all that. All right, so
Yeah, we got to get the
enough of the merchandise.
Yeah, we got to get the Ferrises on and tell us what's going on with them lately. I mean, because they've been loyal to us from the beginning, supportive of what we're doing, and I mean, they've got a good business down there. If you have a business, you have safety needs, they're your people you need to go talk to.
Yeah, and before I get off the hawking the merchandise type stuff, I've got some more shirt designs and all that I want to do. But we did have, I mean, maybe we already mentioned this, I don't know. But anyway, we did have a contest where we gave away a coffee mug. So you had to point out at least 3 things wrong with the Bossier City. Yes, this was a real image they posted, but temporarily only. With that image. And what else did I have everybody do? You had to share that post to 3 locations and then tag Tommy Chandler, the mayor. And Cindy Madonna Herring won the coffee mug in short order, so I got to deliver her coffee mug tomorrow. Okay, and that was quite the image. Look at that bearded lady back there.
Can you spot what
the
is
bearded
amazing?
Lady?
Oh yeah, I saw it. I about fell out of my chair. But more importantly is, how long was that post up for it to be captured? It couldn't have been up no more than, an hour at best.
I don't know. I didn't actually see it. It was sent to us saying, "Hey, did you guys see this?" So.
Oh, well, I may have screwed up, because the person that accidentally posted that actually fessed up to me in private, known that they did it and it was a mistake. And I said, look, Rex is sitting there. All he does is sit at the computer and monitor the Bossier page. I mean, so he's got nothing else to do. So y'all shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff unless you're sure.
Before you pull the trigger, be certain of what's at your target and beyond. The whole safety of gun rules and social media posting. All right. So enough of making fun of the city. It wasn't, it's an AI generated hills have eyes and Bossier kind of thing, but they did pull it down, but it was still fun to play around with. And Cindy got a free coffee mug out of the deal. So got to deliver it to her and she'll have her free coffee mug.
Good fun for everybody.
Yeah. Wes Marriott says it was up there long enough.
Fun. Speaking of fun, what about this show graphic? I where do we go there?
Well, okay, so let me get that cut up there real quick. I'm gonna make it big for everybody. Hold on for a few seconds.
And who the heck is Morgan? We keep hearing about Morgan. I mean, is this your alter ego or something?
Well, kind of, sort of. We're going to talk about Morgan. But if you notice the show graphic for tonight, I got to give a lot of credit to the cartoonist that I have slaving away to come up with these graphics off the cuff. Just the cartoonist does an amazing job of this. But it looks like some guy named Ray is trying to bleach emails that are 31 days old for free parking lots and something about incriminating evidence, while the Louisiana State Popo is en route. I wonder who that could be.
Well, you see, I looked at that. I was thinking that was Bill Barr. actually, because it looks
Oh,
like Bill Barr, and that looks like the Motor
well,
City Popo cars from the old Crown Vics from the past.
I know, but I have to be careful when doing a caricature and making fun of people. They're political figures, so there's lots of leeway in that, but sometimes people get butthurt over it. So, I mean, it's some guy named Ray Ray. I mean, it could be Richard Barr. I don't know. I don't think so, though.
Yeah, maybe so, maybe so, maybe so. So, all right, let's hurry up. Let's get through this. What Morgan? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. All right.
everybody wants to know who Morgan is. That your cousin?
Morgan is like my alter ego. And so here's the deal with Morgan. Um, well, let me start with this comment and then I'll lead into what Morgan is. So I did one of the deep dive with Morgan's on this whole parking lot situation. It's about a 3-4 minute video, whatever, and it explains it pretty succinctly and in detail and gives everybody a good sense because we've had multiple comments and people messaging, hey, what's the Cliff's notes on the parking lot deal? What's going on and all that? A lot of new people that aren't really aware of all this. But Brad Driggers, bless his heart, commented and said, surely this is AI generated. Well, again, that's like putting a dog treat in front of me. And look, we appreciate your comments, Brad. We really do. So I'm not making fun of you too much. But I of course, I had to comment, or bossierwatch did, so you and I are responsible. Says, no, that's really Morgan wearing a cartoon diving mask and fedora, mispronouncing Bossier. It really is. And he goes, well, it doesn't even sound like Morgan. I was like, sure it does. We named him Morgan. Who are you talking about? Anyway, he says, regardless of who Morgan is, this issue is getting deep. By the day, it's deeper. And Brad, you are absolutely correct. We agree. This is a very deep subject. So, so when y'all see those deep dives with Morgan, look, the truth is it's a combination of my input to AI, some scripting and prompting, and facts that I input, and then I double check the AI, do a little tweak in the comments, and then I got a program that I loaded into and does the voiceover, and so it's just a little bit different way of presenting content than just your and my boring faces on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not feeling that it sounds like you at all.
Yeah, hey, it's a
Nor
lot more
me.
polished than me.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah, it's can be a little hard hitting and all that. So that's the deal with Morgan. Yes, Brad, it is partially AI generated. Let me put it that way. All right.
So how do we move forward here? I mean, so many directions. I mean, the statements that have been made. I mean, I think we first had, wasn't it Charles Jacobs that first addressed parking lot gate? Then we had
right.
Tommy did an interview. He made a statement.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had that person who we're dead to did an interview and did a good job.
Did a good job.
Have to give him credit. Got Tommy to make another statement. And then you had another statement from one of the attorneys. I can't remember. I can't remember. I think it was Ray.
Which statement was that? I mean, there's been so much. It's like all becoming a blur.
Well, that's the thing. It has not been consistent on what is the at the end of the day the cause of parking lot gate.
Well, yeah, and that's, I've been on that bandwagon for I don't know how many shows. It's a simple question that should be asked, and nobody has actually asked it. The Colonel got close to asking it today, but it's a simple question. You had Jacobs in the March City Council meeting when Hammonds dropped the bomb on everybody. And by the way, if y'all didn't know, the way this started was, I think it was the March the 25th meeting. It was in March. I think it was the 25th. The city council was trying to do a change order with Ruttenbuck, if I remember correctly. But either way, they were trying to do this change order. Seems like a simple change order. And, a lot of us have been kind of griping, saying, "Wait a minute, what are all these change orders? Maybe we need a little more detail. This is getting kind of ridiculous." Well, this is a perfect example because they were trying to slip the payment or the funding, I guess would be the proper thing to say, for this parking lot through this change order. And I don't think that Jacobs and Tommy and their cohorts anticipated Hammonds coming in there as the proverbial bull in the china closet and breaking all the china, because he said, "Hey, wait a minute, I want to know about these parking lots." And you can go back and watch that whole meeting. And Jacobs replies, and I'm paraphrasing here slightly, "Oh, well, it was pile driving access, and me and Richard Ray went out there and we inspected the parking lots, and we know what we're doing. And so we decided that we were going to pay them money so they would keep quiet." I mean, that's pretty much it. And avoid a lawsuit. I mean, Rex's version of what Jacob says, but that's pretty close. Now, fast forward to everything that transpired, and then Tommy has been on multiple interviews, like you said, one with Bossier now and Dead to Us, or, well, we're dead to him, how. And Tommy went on Keel and has said, no, this wasn't a pile driving issue that damaged the concrete. It was about access. That's what it was about. It was simply about access. I mean, he even doubled down on it. So my simple question is, one of them is lying. It's either the legal turkeys or it's Tommy is lying. Answer the question. Was it pile driving, or was it about giving access to Scott's Audio and Bossier Power Equipment and those businesses along there? Which was it? And nobody seems to ask that question. I mean, look, Aaron and them have done a great job on Keel. We got some video to show with that here in a minute. They didn't ask that question. Bossier now didn't ask the question. I mean, he asked about access, but he didn't call him on the carpet about the differing statements.
Now, I want to go back just a hair, because I'm not sure if it was that March meeting that you're talking about regarding the change order, but I think this issue may predate that, because actually the first time the issue was raised was by former Councilman Montgomery about, how does this happen? How does this happen? Scott's Audio. I mean, nobody can turn in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Him and Hammonds made a big deal about, nobody can turn in there. And Montgomery wanted to like sue the state or defy the state, or I don't know if he wanted to go in there and rip the concrete up. And everybody else was thinking, well, have you not ever been to South Bossier or Sobo? Apparently Montgomery hadn't, unless he was on a bar run. But apparently he's not been down there and seen where you have the curb blocks turning into businesses.
Well, it begs the question that if you were really doing an investigation and you were going to go back for all of the emails, what is the likelihood of getting an email of former Councilman Montgomery or any of the other councilmen's role in this or discussions prior to that? If history serves me correctly, there's zero chance that you would get any communications. That they're lost, and Verizon doesn't keep any communications. I mean, and I think we can show that.
Oh yeah, I've got some.
At least that's what they say.
I've got some screenshots that can show that. So let me double check my text messages here.
But earlier I started talking about, some people say, in fact, I had somebody say, well, how do y'all, I started saying this earlier before we went to the break, was how do y'all get some of the stuff that you get? And I'm like, well, look, a lot of times it's from whistleblowers or people that give us stuff anonymously. It's very rarely do we get anything from public information requests. And then the follow-up question is always, well, why do you even bother doing them? And
well,
the real reason why we do them is to get them to lie to us. We just want their lie in writing.
Yeah. Or not just that. Sometimes a non-answer is worse than the answer. And so when they don't respond to the request, number one, it's illegal. But we pretty much had the policy, Duke. Neither one of us had the time to try to push through the AG's office and the legislative auditor's office because, well, the AG apparently doesn't give a darn about anything in Bossier Parish going on, any shenanigans.
Oh,
But we've kind of had the deal of, okay, if they don't respond, we'll press them on it, and then we just make fun of them on Tuesday night when they don't respond. I'm gonna skip the Keel segment for just a minute, and I'm gonna jump to the exceedingly unfortunate segment because I want to show you the retention policy and all that. So the first thing I want to do, and this is going to tie right back into what we were just talking about, what you just brought up, Duke. I want to, let me see if I can get this queued up. This is a snippet from the Investigative Committee meeting. We've already posted this on Bossier Watch, so thousands of you have already watched this video. It's not just a couple of seconds, but I want to go ahead and show you this video, and then I'm going to lead into an email that you and I are still waiting on as a public information request. So here we go.
wow.
Emails from you and Mr. Rauschenbach.
Councilman Hammonds, I get a tremendous amount of email, a tremendous amount.
Well,
Mainly
Mr.
because of our
Rauschenbach
accent.
had no problem
I have to
finding
keep.
them.
Well, Mr. Rauschenbach has a Wagner server. I have a Bossier City server that I have to keep pared down. I don't keep emails for months and months and months. I gave you what I have.
How do we have a city server that y'all cannot, we spend all this money on technology and y'all can't go back in and find an email?
I'm telling you, I get emails through our body cam system that are tremendous. I have to keep mine pared down. I keep a 30-day window. If you ask me for an email beyond 30 days, I'm not going to have it.
We have no documentation from any bids that went out for these parking lots. We don't have that. Well, you needed a bid because y'all broke Louisiana state bid law. We have an email proving that.
Well, that's your self-serving conclusion. I would disagree with that. It's two claims, as we pointed out.
It's two claims because in an email you told them to break it up to two
That
claims.
is absolutely untrue, Councilman Hammonds. Absolutely
So I guess
untrue.
I can't read now.
Absolutely
Is that what you're
untrue.
saying? We have an email stating
That is what I'm saying.
So I'm not going to argue with you anymore. We are turning this
Listen
over.
up.
We have already been contacted by the Louisiana State Police. We didn't contact them. They contacted us wanting all of this information.
This is exceedingly unfortunate.
Exceedingly unfortunate. I think that's going to be my new saying. This is exceedingly unfortunate.
I give him credit. I don't know how he does it, man. He sits there and he can keep his cool, and but we've seen him not keep his cool as well too.
Oh yeah, there is no doubt about that. Especially when he gets riled up. So, okay. Hey, well, let me get this thought out real quick. So I want to make sure that everybody listen very carefully because words matter, as Richard Ray has told us, and we've said ad nauseum here. Words matter. He said, I do not keep them past a 30-day window. And that's an important distinction. All right. Because unlike what he says when we'll hear in this Keel interview in a minute from his email that he sent to Keel, he might have been shocked a little bit, but he pretty much knew what was coming. So it wasn't like surprise. He was very careful in parsing his words there, even though we made fun of him for being the retention guy. All right. Sorry, Duke. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, since we've been on this show and we mentioned Tahoes, an anonymous source has said, as of today, there are still no decals on the Tahoe.
So see there, folks, how do they get by with this? I mean, the Tahoe police from Louisiana should immediately go arrest them all for violating the law. Just how do they get by with this, Duke? It's because we have a DA's office that ain't prosecuting any elected official, especially anybody that's associated with the good old boy network.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But, I mean, the thing is that anybody who challenges somebody on these things or makes claims that they're doing whatever, why is it? And I don't know that it's all attorneys. I may not should say all attorneys, but when you back an attorney into a corner, they immediately accuse you of lying. I just want to know from attorney friends, is that something that you're trained in lawyer school is that when you get backed up, you just automatically accuse the opponent of being a liar or they're not telling the truth, unless it's an attorney, because they don't do that to attorneys that often.
All right. So another telling thing was I think it was in the Friday special counsel meeting, not in the investigative meeting, in the special counsel meeting, I believe. Wes, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. Wes Marriott got up, did some public commentary. Well, of course, what was Richard Ray's retort? Oh, Wes is very intelligent. He's very good at wordsmithing, but he twists the words the way he wants them. You know why Richard Ray could let that roll right off his tongue and not even hesitate? Because that's what Richard does too. It's what lawyers do. Period.
Yeah.
They're literally trained to do this.
Yeah, and we have those videos ready to go, by the way. I did get through most of that.
All right, we'll try to get to this. All right, so let me go back down through the notes. So let's get to this. And Duke, I don't know if you remember this. I just randomly found it while looking for other stuff to get ready for the show. But give me just a second here, and let me see if I can switch to screenshots. Let's get rid of Mr. Driggers' comment here. And I need to be, cut 7 and 8. All right. So,
okay.
Go ahead.
So I have updated sources telling me that if you've got stickers on, that would limit you from going to Hurricane Alley. That would cause a problem.
Where is Hurricane Alley?
I don't know. I guess I'm so old school, but
is that a bar? Is it a bowling alley? What is Hurricane Alley?
Well, no. Hurricane Alley, is that like in New Orleans? I mean, if you go down there to get a hurricane in the French Quarter or something?
Hey, look, Wes brings up a good point. He said Tommy had decals on his car and he removed them. Why? So he could blend in when gallivanting. Good word, Mr. Marriott. Good wordsmithing when gallivanting around town. Makes you wonder. But, look, Wes, he's got to go take all those selfies. And if he had a marked car, he'd have paparazzi everywhere because he's such a famous figure. Maybe it's a safety issue.
Yeah, probably so. That's what I would claim. I would claim it's a safety issue.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
I think we might have been the first people to report on Tahoe Gate. Remember way back when we were getting reports.
right after Tommy got elected, so in and around that time.
I think there was a Tahoe that was reportedly going to Dallas or Fort Worth or something or another. And then there were reports of Tahoes that were acting as basically cab service, for family members around town. And then, if I do recall correctly, there was one time we reported there was a source that submitted information about having designated drivers in city Tahoes at one time.
Oh, well, yeah.
I don't remember how far we went with that information back then.
I remember because, we came up with the buzzword, or somebody did, Tahoe Tommy and all that. So, yeah, it's been so many shows ago, I remember that. We'll have to go back and maybe revisit that. I want to thank everybody in the comments for letting us know that Hurricane Alley is East Bank. I have to go visit Hurricane Alley. Hadn't been out and about gallivanting for a while. I was down in New Orleans. We didn't go into any bars. We just went to restaurants and shops. Well, anyway, that's a whole other story. All right. So let's, our favorite term for, I think Mr. Womack loves it. Let's circle back to the City of Bossier records retention policy and Mr. Richard Ray. So you just heard him talk about he doesn't have any records or keep any emails over 30 days. Well, it just so happens that I pulled up this email that we sent Saturday, February the 17th, 2024, Mr. Lowry. And we requested from the City of Bossier, and notice specifically, we sent it to Richard as well, and to Jacobs, and to the mayor's deal. Number 1, the City of Bossier records retention policy. Number 2, training dates or lack thereof of all councilmen, mayor, and administrative personnel regarding the provisions of RS 44 as described in revised statute 44:31.2. So, all we wanted was the records retention policy. They should have been able to easily provide that. Well, thought there was a little hope because Wednesday, February the 21st, we did get a response acknowledging our request. So we know Richard Ray got it. You see it right there in red. Andy says, we are working on the response and estimate that it will take no longer than 30 days to provide a response. How the hell does it take 30 days to look up training dates and who attended what? Somebody explain that to me.
Well, I mean, it takes a lot of time perusing through all those emails of body cam footage and figuring out what you're going to delete. I mean, dadgum. And then you got city court on Monday and Tuesdays. I mean, come on.
I know it's a busy schedule, especially when you're assistant DA and, all those lovely things that Mr. Ray is. So some of you may have noticed that we did publish the retention schedule for Bossier City, thanks to the Louisiana Secretary of State's office. We requested the retention policy or retention schedule for the city of Bossier from the Secretary of State, because they, all municipalities and government bodies or whatever, are required to file that with, I think it's the state archivist or whatever the actual procedure is. So they did send it to us, and we've already published that a couple days ago on Bossier Watch's Facebook page. So you can go and peruse that all you want. But you know who was responsible for the Bossier City retention policy and training? You know who is responsible for that?
I'm thinking of a business with a big, huge, towers of computers. And I'm thinking wrong. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, none of that cyber command stuff. It would be Richard Ray. Do you know how we know that it's Richard Ray?
Do tell.
Well, let's go back in time to February the 16th. Notice the significance of that because we sent our request on the 17th of February. But back on February the 16th of 2024, do you know where you were, Mr. Lowry?
Oh, I know. I do not know. Do tell.
I can tell you, not that I, keep your schedule for you, but I was sitting right beside you in the courtroom as Mr. Marriott was engaged in his lawsuit with the city of Bossier over text message records.
Oh, yeah, and Verizon don't keep them. I remember that. That. There's I think Richard Ray was looking and helping Councilman Montgomery, and you know what? Just couldn't find them.
Just couldn't find them, and all that, you can't get them that long, which of course we proved was complete BS. But we were sitting there in that courtroom, and I must say it was pretty entertaining. Well, lo and behold, I have the transcript of that hearing.
Don't tell.
I think you would find this interesting, folks. Y'all may too. This is the transcript, and so the question, I believe it was from Mrs. Schwartzman, one of the lawyers that was representing or helping represent Wes. I think they were from Tulane Law School or whatever. But anyway, she is having, dialogue with Richard Ray. So her question in red is, and what is the city's policy on record retention? And Mr. Race answers, I'm not sure as I sit here right now. Well, what the hell? Did he hit his head coming into the courtroom? He's literally the assistant city attorney. And at that point, I think still kind of acting primarily as the city attorney while Jacobs was on his medical leave thing. So what did he, have amnesia that morning? So she asked, well, does the city have a policy on how city employees are to retain public records? And let's see what Mr. Ray's response was. He says up at the top, I'm not sure. Maybe. Assistant city attorney, acting city attorney, I think he was, if I'm correct at that time, is not sure if the city has a records retention policy, which is literally required by law.
How is that possible? I don't get it. It baffles one to know how, everyone could be lying about things, but then in this case, it's just ignorance. You just don't know. I have no clue.
Well, she follows up with, well, where would that policy be located if it existed? And Mr. Richard Ray says, not sure.
Now, wait a minute. He's in charge, right?
No, look, he's telling the truth. You know how I know he's telling the truth?
Okay. I wasn't saying he was lying.
I know he's telling the truth because he still hasn't answered our damn email and public information requests about that policy. Apparently, he's still looking, and he's been looking for a year and a half.
So let me get this straight. The state law has laws that say that you have to retain records. And, if you're a lawyer, you would think that you read those things or know that there's laws that say that. But in this case, he was saying, hey, no bueno, no idea. And here we are still today, and we've got issues with records being produced. How can there be a question about records? I don't get it.
So Wes said he still hadn't received a single record from Montgomery, and Jessica Langley Maddox says exceedingly unfortunate. well played, Miss Jessica. So let's go on down through this real quick. So she asked, are city employees trained on their obligations under the public records law to retain public records? His answer, we do. I mean, there's training, there's online training. I know what we did with when we started, we had the Attorney General's office actually come in and do a specific training session on various matters, and one of them was public records. Yeah, that's it.
Well, look right there. That's who we need to call to get the AG's office to come in and do something in Bossier.
Yeah.
He's got the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah, exactly correct.
Remember the Charter Commission meetings when they did the illegal Charter Commission meetings, and I know complaints were filed with the AG's office, but the AG's office didn't do anything until the city attorney's office cut some deal with them or got told how the meeting was going to be redone, and they redid it all. Remember that?
Oh, I do. Hey, Jason Dobbins says he lost your email, Rex. You're right, Jason. That email was over the 31-day window. It's gone. Very, very good comment. So she says, she continues, when was that training? Richard Ray. I don't recall. It would have probably been sometime in late 21 or sometime in 22. And who attended that training? I did, but I couldn't tell you who else did. Was he drunk or still hungover? It was open to any city employee, and there were quite a few there. That is why I always say Richard Ray is a weasel. He's a slippery little weasel, and it's not like he is that stupid. Richard Ray's really not a stupid guy. He's just, like he accused Mr. Marriott of being, he's very good at wordsmithing and evading. I mean, it's, just like water falling off a duck's back. It just rolls right off, and he's able to weasel his way in and out of all these issues and never seems to have anything happen to him.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
You've heard us gripe about it, everybody. We're not kidding. It is literally a violation of the law to not fulfill those public information requests. The problem, and we just showed you one of them, and there are plenty more. And the problem is, like we said earlier, for Duke and I to have to do something about that, we've got a specific window of time that we have to do it, and we have to get the AG's office and blah, 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 and I guess the legislative auditor and maybe go get the Pope involved. I don't know. And so we just don't have that much time.
And what people have to understand is this isn't unique to Bossier City and the city attorney and assistant city attorney. This is something that all government does. I'm going to say at the federal level, the state level, local level, they look for an error in your request, a word, or that technical, like Chris said in the council meeting today. He's like, there are people that are hanging on every word. Well, yeah, these folks, this what they do is they hang on your words, and it's got to be crystal clear and perfect. And then if you are crystal clear and perfect, then you've got to fight them to get it. You got to spend all of your resources to do it, and you've got to go against government and against the taxpayer dollars, and they use your money against you. And it's unfortunate. It should be that just everything is transparent, but unfortunately, it's not.
Right.
The goal is government tries to keep you out of it. They don't want you to hear this because it'll just force another question to be asked.
Yeah, and look, Wes has a good comment. He says the difference between Ray and himself is Ray is incredibly comfortable lying. He trades competence for confidence. Look, he's a lawyer. He's literally a trained liar. And look, if you need an attorney, you need an attorney. Everybody hates lawyers till they need one, but that's a fact. All right. So that pretty much concludes the exceedingly unfortunate. If y'all have not watched it before, go back. We've got that same video I just played. We've got that posted on the Facebook page. I think I've also got it over on YouTube. And then we've got the entire meetings from Friday transcribed and posted as well. And we're going to review some highlights of those meetings in the city council meeting coming up here in just a bit. All right. Do we want to do that, or shall we start with the Keel segment, because that was this morning? Or do we want to start with some of the Friday stuff?
Let's start with the Friday stuff. Let's try to go in chronological order, because some people we may confuse them if we don't go in order. And so we need to cover what transpired on Friday. And there's some details. For example, like today's meeting was supposed to be voting on sending things to the state police, the DA, the AG, whoever else, everybody, but that didn't happen. There wasn't no vote. So something changed from Friday.
Okay, so I'm getting it kind of queued up right now. So I think you did the time stamping and all this, so I will start the live review, or you can tell me when to stop and jump forward, whichever way you want to do it. And let's see. I guess we want to do, since it came first, do the investigative committee meeting first.
Yes, definitely. Because that was where the most fireworks, that's where this thing kind of got put on steroids or was energized the most, was here.
Okay, so either you can have control or I can click and whichever way you want to do. I'll jump to the first segment.
Yeah, go ahead. I've got to get in it first.
Okay, so this is the part where Hammond's prepared speech. He lays out who gave the sworn statements and documents. So you want me to go ahead and hit play on that? All right. Let me get some volume adjustment going here. Hopefully it'll be loud enough. All right, here we go. Let me make sure I'm in the right one. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, you are. There's only 3 of them.
All right.
And I'm just going to go ahead and got a little prepared speech. Good morning, committee members. Each of you have received a copy of the preliminary report I compiled. While I briefly review our findings today, I want to note that portions of the report contain sensitive information. Before any public release, I will seek guidance from the Attorney General, the Louisiana Legislative Auditor, regarding any content, if any, should be redacted. Immediately following the adoption of the resolution that established this investigative committee, Council President Smith appointed 3 of us to serve. As chair, I coordinated with Councilman Smith to outline the necessary information and documentation we would need to conduct a thorough and efficient investigation we formally requested. Sworn statements from Mayor Chandler, Ms. Nottingham, Ms. Crawford, Mr. Jacobs, Mr. Ray, Mr. Rauschenbach, and Mr. Thompson. All relative documentation, including bids, invoices, emails, text messages, memos, phone logs, contracts, and other supporting material. I want to express my appreciation to Mr. Rauschenbach and Mr. Thompson, both of whom submitted sworn statements along with supporting documentation. Ms. Nottingham and Ms. Crawford also complied by submitting sworn statements. And based on our review, appear and have had minimal involvement in this matter. That would be Ms. Nottingham and Ms. Crawford.
All right, so
Here's
I
where
want
it
to
gets good.
Yeah, I want to pause right there for a second. That's kind of important. So it sounds like, based on what Hammonds and the investigative committee have found so far, is that Amanda and the other lady, and I just had a complete memory lapse like Richard Ray, they appear to not really be embroiled in all this scandal. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, and Wagner Engineering, Rauschenbach, and the other cat, they complied completely.
Okay.
Didn't nothing.
Smart move on their part.
However, what is most concerning and clearly outlined in the report is that Mayor Chandler, Mr. Jacobs, and Mr. Ray, who according to the statements appear to have been the key decision makers, did not submit any documents. This lack of documentation has significantly hindered the committee's ability to fully assess the situation. The statement and the documents we did receive reveal several discrepancies. While it's possible that the passage of time has led to lapses in memory, the absence of corroborating documentation prevents us from verifying the facts. My original hope was that these records would paint a clear picture, allowing us to move forward and implement safeguards to prevent similar issues in the future. Unfortunately, the committee is unable to determine whether all applicable laws and procedures were followed. Therefore, I am recommending that the committee take the following actions. Pursuant to Louisiana RS 24.523, submit written notification to the Louisiana Legislative Auditor and the District Attorney of Bossier Parish, as the law requires, when there is reasonable cause to believe that public funds or assets may have been misappropriated. Forward our findings to the Office of the Attorney General to request a formal opinion on this matter. Submit all documentation to the Louisiana State Police, who have the authority and experience to conduct a full investigation. There have been some questions raised by the city attorney's office regarding whether the city council possesses the authority to conduct this kind of investigation. Rather than engage in a protracted legal debate, I believe it is in the public's best interest for us to submit our findings to the appropriate authorities and allow them to determine proper course of action. We will comply with any guidance and directive provided by those agencies. Thank you.
All right. So I think that was concise. He was basically saying that they did an investigation. They come to a conclusion that there was something there and that it was something that needed to be forwarded to a professional organization to do a thorough investigation that had, more enforcement power, because there are some limitations that a council has, but they scratch the surface. There's something there. They want somebody outside to look at it.
Yeah, and I think the key word is outside the sphere of influence, hopefully, of Bossier. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't beat the same old dead horse that elevating it to the AG's office, apparently with this AG, ain't gonna get nothing done. But I digress.
Nope, you're not going to get nothing, because it ain't like it's a surprise to the current AG, Liz Morrell's office, that there's shenanigans, as you say, going on in Bossier. So, look, I've been beating that drum for show after show after show after show. I mean, she's AWOL. She's been on this show. And
yeah, we literally interviewed her.
Yeah, if she'd have told me then that she was going to turn a blind eye to Bossier and things going on here, no way in hell I would have supported her. No, not a chance.
No, and it's not just that we've been talking about it on the show. We know for a fact their office is aware of all these shenanigans, and not just from watching the show or not. So,
Correct. No
right.
doubt about it. So Cliff Smith goes on here and he asks a pretty good pointed question. And listen at this.
Just have the one. So we have asked for but not received all of the, excuse me, all of the information that we requested from the parties that are involved. We did not receive everything we asked for, correct?
That is correct. We are not taking any public comment right now.
Will you be taking public comment at the appropriate time?
No, we will
Pursuant
not.
to open meetings laws?
No, we will not.
You're going to have a meeting and not have public comment?
Mr. Ray, you've had the opportunity to submit everything to us, which you have not done, so I'm not going to sit here and argue with you.
That's not true.
All
We
right.
submitted.
I want to pause it for a second. So it works out great for all of us viewing this buffoonery. Good comment there, Miss Jerry. But notice he's like a vampire. He was walking back out the door, but then, I guess kind of fortunately, Bull in the China Closet literally invited the vampire over the threshold, and back he came. All right, sorry, Duke. I just wanted to get that little comment in.
Well, I mean, the thing is the question regarding public comment. I mean, look, we see people that walk up to the mic when it's not time for anybody in public. I mean, I think it was even Colonel Crockett did it today. Colonel Crockett went walking up to the mic and they weren't prepared to take comments, or they'd already started or something or another. I mean, Richard Ray, I hate to play devil's advocate and some people may take offense to it, but he's entitled to interject himself up there as well. The only rub here is he's an employee. And
well, he was trying to blur that line because he was trying to do triple personalities here. Assistant city attorney,
no doubt,
employee, regular citizen. Now, pick one, Richard. I mean, I don't fall for those Jedi mind tricks.
No, neither do I. But anyway, I don't know why you made me think of a charter commission meeting where he said, we're being accused of being terrorists. I don't know why. Some of the things that prompt your brain, I don't get it. But this dialogue here gets even better. It keeps going, and this is grand indeed. Let's listen to the rest of this.
All right, hit it.
Pages and pages and pages of documents.
Where's it at?
We gave it to your clerk. I gave 3 packets for each submission.
You sent emails to us?
No, I sent it in. I did we sent it in sealed packages as you requested.
So we requested all documentation, emails, anything, and we have not received one single email from you pertaining to this. Are you stating that there was no emails?
You've received everything that I have, Councilman Hammonds, and you've received a tremendous amount. And as we pointed out, as the legal counsel for this council, and you've asked us no questions, you have the power under 3.09 to subpoena witnesses, administer oaths, take testimony, and require the production of evidence. You do not have the power to require a written statement under penalty of perjury. You don't have that power, and we can't give it to you just because you want.
Now, do you realize what he's saying here?
All I hear is tremendous, but I'm stuck on that word.
Well, he's basically saying that you can't require us to give information, and I think he didn't say information, but I think he's trying to suggest it, and a statement that everything we're giving you or that we have complied 100% accurately. I think he's trying to say you don't have the right to be able to hold us to a standard that a court of law.
Oh, no.
What he's trying to say.
Words matter, Mr. Lowry. That is not what he's trying to say.
Okay, well, do tell.
Okay, what he is trying to say here is, I'm not signing anything that is swearing under oath that these are all the records produced, because once he signs that and they notarize it or whatever, that could be entered into as evidence. As it is now, and we saw with his Keel email, he can say, oh, that was the shock and awe of what I was accused of, and I misspoke. Once you sign your name to it as an official document, your ass is on the line then, and he knows that, and that's why he did that. I don't fall for those Jedi mind tricks either.
Okay. Well, let's keep going because this ain't done here.
So you're telling us the city council does not have the power to request emails on certain money that has been spent in the city?
That's not what I said. You do have that, but you don't have the ability.
That's what I
But what you're trying to
requested.
say is all of the tremendous amount of documents that myself and Mr. Jacobs and the mayor submitted don't count because we didn't attach an affidavit swearing under penalty of perjury that it's all correct. You don't have the power to do that, and we pointed it out.
I believe we do have that power according to the charter. Is that correct, Ms.
I just read to you the
Monroe?
charter. Subpoena witnesses, administer oaths, take testimony, and require the production of evidence. You don't have the power to compel a written statement under penalty of perjury.
Okay, well, we do. So where are the emails that I requested from you?
I gave you a lot of documents, Councilman
You
Hammonds.
gave me written, you gave me just a bunch of words on pages.
No, I didn't. I gave you copies. I gave you copies of our text messages together. I gave you copies of other
I'm
documents.
not talking about text messages with me and you.
Well,
I'm talking
it was about this subject.
Okay, well, I mean, you want to go ahead and bring this out in the public light. Where are the emails from you and Mr. Rauschenbach?
Councilman Hammonds, I get a tremendous amount of email, a tremendous amount. Mainly
Well, Mr.
because of our
Rauschenbach
Axon.
had no problem
I have to
finding
keep.
them.
Well, Mr. Rauschenbach has a Wagner server. I have a Bossier City server that I have to keep pared down. I don't keep emails for months and months and months. I gave you what I have.
Yeah,
If you got the
convenient.
email from Mr. Rauschenbach, then you have the email.
Well, we have the emails from Mr. Rauschenbach between you and him.
Okay, well, then you have
Between
it.
you and Mr. Jacobs.
Okay, then you have
And
it.
that gives us enough evidence where we feel like y'all have committed crimes in the city of
Well,
Bossier,
that
where
is-
we are sitting this on to the proper authorities.
That was outstanding.
That is incorrect.
That is incorrect.
Incorrect. And I look, got to give Bull in the China Closet, Mr. Hammonds, there credit. He said the word. I mean, he said the statement. We feel, or whatever, y'all have committed crimes.
Now look, it was the heat of the moment, but Richard kept saying the city of Bossier server. He kept talking about the city server having to reduce the emails.
That's
I mean,
BS. I wish I'd have been up there, been sitting on the committee. I'd have just laid waste to him right there.
I mean, but maybe he meant to say my personal email,
No, here's what he was trying to allude to. So he was trying to allude to the body cam email requests are tremendous because there's so much footage and all that. He's not emailing those video files. Almost every email system in existence allows for a maximum of 25 megs per email. Some allow 20 megs, some allow tens. Let's do a little math. There's 1,000 megabytes in a gigabyte, okay? Email servers typically allow 20, maybe 25 megabytes. There's 1,000 of those megabytes in a gigabyte. Video typically is about a gigabyte per minute or two of video, depending on how it's compressed. Those body cam videos, Duke, you and I have got them. Wes, a lot of y'all folks in the audience have seen them. Those video files are very large. There's no way he's talking about storing those video body cam emails. So what he was trying to do is come up with a little dazzle them with brilliance, or as Mr. Greg Bell said, baffle them with BS with Hammonds. That's all he was trying to do right there. And he made himself, I mean, he just removed his foot out of his mouth and removed all doubt.
No doubt. So he goes on. I've jumped us up a little bit, and he makes another interesting statement and revelation that I didn't know before today. I mean, so you've already delineated that he is the guy that's over records retention, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But did you know he's over risk management as well?
I forgot about that. He's got how many roles? I mean, it's hard to keep track of all these roles that he plays.
Don't take my word for it. Let's hear it yourself.
Legal experience in the area of insurance defense. I also run the risk management department. The risk manager is under us and is under me.
I thought the risk manager answers to the city attorney.
Well, the legal department. I have
So you're
more
in charge of the
experience.
legal department as a
No,
part-time
I'm not in
employee.
charge of the legal department. I told you what I did.
What?
I'm an advisor
Pause
to
that
the
for-
council, to the mayor. I handle the risk management.
Did y'all just hear that? That's critically important. Because where have we heard about the Office of Risk Management before? I've heard that phrase before. Oh, I know. It was, well, with the great parking lot scandal.
That's right. And the first time the question was posed about the construction, and Charles Jacobs acknowledged to Brian Hammonds and said, brought it up. I think I'm correct. Risk management. that was where it went.
Yeah. Hey, I want to bring up one more quick point too before you hit play. So I have one of these magic little iPhones, whether you have an iPhone or Android. Here's the interesting thing, Duke. So I have email dating back to 2005 that I retained, just in case I have a customer that I hadn't spoken to in a long time, and I got to pull up some notes and some information. I have right now, I'm looking, I have 52,012 emails that I can pull up from my iPhone, and I can find every email between me and Richard Ray from my personal account, if there are any, or from bossierwatch in about 20 seconds. From my phone, Richard Ray. You know, those text messages that Verizon doesn't want to keep. All right, sorry. I'll get off my soapbox.
No. It's all good. It's all good. So I hope that this is constructive for a lot of you watching to fill in some of the blanks. We don't have much more of this one, and then we'll move on. But there's one more really important part here at the end, which leads into today and why Red Rover showed up again today. And
oh yes, that was epic.
Here we go.
Management issues. That's why I'm the main person in this, and I haven't run from anything. I haven't run from any conversation. I didn't run from this. When you tried to run me off this podium today, I didn't run from it because I haven't done anything wrong.
Okay, well, that is your right to think that you did nothing wrong.
It certainly is.
It is our right to think that you did.
Well,
and you will have the right as a lawyer to defend yourself against this if it goes any further.
Well, I have a right as an employee that's being violated right now because you're accusing an employee of the city of things that should be in executive session, as your clerk is alluding to. I also have a right as a citizen to not be accused of a crime and not be accused of a crime falsely by anyone.
How convenient.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Harris, I again.
Okay. So he's got a right as a citizen to not be falsely accused. And
see, I told you he's changing hats.
Wait till y'all hear today's council meeting here in just a minute when we play the Red Rover portion.
Yeah. Hey, let me take a second. So Wes Marriott says, Rex, if your customer has a 25-year-old problem, they have a problem. Let me just let you know, Wes, AOL finally just continued their dial-up. I still have customers that were still paying AOL for dial-up service against my recommendation, even when they have broadband service. So yes, Sometimes I have customers with 25-year-old machines I have to deal with. But anyway, I digress.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So back to the drama at hand.
Well, we're done here. I mean, that was pretty much the end of it. Richard posed the personnel question that, again, how many hats is he trying to wear here? Counsel to these folks, participant in parking lot gate, and in personnel employee, and having rights to not talk about his role, or he's the one that went up there. They didn't ask him to come up there to speak. He went up there on his own.
Yeah, they didn't request it. I mean, it just gave us more fodder to talk about tonight and endlessly on social media, but you're right, he didn't have to say anything. His best course of action may have been to just shut up.
Now, I will tell you, and I don't know the rules, I may be wrong, either this committee, if they have a public meeting like this and having public discussion, I don't know the answer to that, whether they have to or whether they don't have to, but clearly they didn't here.
No, and Wes had a comment up there. Let me go find it real quick. That was pertaining to that, and I think he did a pretty good job of summarizing that. Let's see. Hold on. Here we go. So Wes says, public comment is only required before a vote. There was no vote, so no public comment was required. As someone who has racked up $200,000 in legal fees suing the city in federal court for being silenced during the public comment period, Richard Way was 100% wrong here. This was not a public comment period, and he argued for way over 3 minutes. He should have been removed. And therein lies the problem. What could Hammonds have done? Now, I don't know, maybe because they did this as an open public committee meeting, and I have to go back and read Robert's rules on this, but I guess Hammonds could have had, although I'm glad he didn't, he could have had Richard Ray removed, but that would have presented a legal kerfuffle.
Well, I think that, one, they adjourned and there was no vote to adjourn, but
Right.
then I do know that they said that they were going to send the recommendations to the full council for consideration or to the full council for a vote. I don't recall whether those three actually voted or not, but they did say they were going to send the recommendations to the full council. So,
Right.
but I say all that to say, I mean, lawyers are lawyers, and no doubt they're going to, I would say that Richard Ray and Charles and Tommy are going to try to throw some red herring up there of a procedural issue with the committee meeting. That you can that's coming. Take that to the bank.
But here's the thing, and this is somewhere in my notes, so I may be jumping ahead, but that's okay. Hammond says in there, if you caught it, everybody, that I think he's already said it. Yeah, we watched it. So he said we're sending this to the state police, and by the way, we didn't reach out to them. They requested it from us. Did y'all catch that? And so my question is, well, what if, I don't know if they requested or demanded it. And then if they did request it and or demand it, and Hammonds and the committee members or the full city council doesn't send it over, are they being complicit in potential crimes? So, what's Richard Ray going to do once the barn, the horse is out of the barn and the information's to the state police? There ain't no takebacks from that.
Well, look, the state police are not immune from hearing about things like this on social media. Let's face it. They're not living under a rock. There's no way they're not hearing about the shenanigans going on here. But I would caution it. Look, I got nothing but respect for the state popo. I do. You got good people and you got bad people everywhere. I even said that last show. But I would caution people on, putting all of their faith in what would come out of the state police, because whether you agree or regardless of where you're at on this issue that I'm fixing to say, I do recall it being said at the beginning of the first Chandler administration that the state police were investigating something. I think that came from Tommy Chandler regarding the former police chief. And as it would turn out, that was a nothing burger. That I don't know that anything. I don't know that we were even able to confirm that there actually was. So when somebody is saying that the state police are on something, I take that with a grain of salt, because we couldn't even validate that before. We were told that, and I still to this day don't know that that's true. And now, we even sent requests and got nothing.
I gotta remind our good friend Wes Marriott from Sobo Live, if the state police, if they're going to do a raid on City Hall and you're waiting, they're going to have to take a number, because don't I remember some other agency raiding City Hall? Wasn't it like the FBI?
Oh yeah, but FBI is not going to get into this, not unless the contractor's from out of state or something. I don't know.
Maybe they cross some state lines somehow. Anyway, so yeah, good point, Wes. We're all waiting on that, but we'll see. And I had another thought that I wanted to mention, but I'm having a Richard Ray moment. I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard to keep it all straight, but there's been so much here, and we're trying to break it down for you guys as fast as possible, and we're going to have to pick up the pace just a little bit.
Yeah.
But okay, so after that committee meeting, then they had a special meeting of the full council, with the exception of Joel Gerard, who wasn't there.
Right.
And there are some striking moments out of this thing, but probably one of the I don't know. There's a lot of interesting
strangest.
but one of the most interesting was Vince Maggio right out of the gate.
Yeah. All right. So I'll hit play on that if you want. I've got it set up where you should be able to have dual control if you want. All right, here we go. Watch this. And yeah, we've got this video posted. This has been viewed as of 4 hours ago 11,000 times so far.
Yes, correct, sir. I'm Vince Maggio, Councilman District 5. I just want to set the record straight. I didn't know nothing about this, and I didn't take no monies from District 5's budget to pay for the parking lots. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maggio. Is there any other comments?
Creighton's sitting over there like, what the hell?
How could Vince have, even if anybody thought Vince did that, how could he do it anyway? Now, I know during his campaign, that was when all of that was kind of kicking off. And look, it's no joke. Vince was on the side of Team Montgomery.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
If anybody assumed that he had, I mean, why would you think he was on Team Anti-Term Limits? I mean, but yet during the campaign, he said, "Oh, I'm for term limits," and being wishy-washy. Why was anybody to think that he somehow, or it was the way of the good old boy back then? Why should anybody have thought that he wasn't involved in it some way or another? But
Robert Goodwin says Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes. So yeah, and I think even when all that was going on, you know, I know for a fact that I mentioned Vince in the middle of all this, but if I remember correctly, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. We go back, you know, I can double check the shows and see exactly what I said, but I think I was alluding to the fact that he was the city councilman for that district. How could he not know that those parking lots were being redone by the city? I mean, he should drive by and go and stop in and say, "Oh, y'all are getting your new parking lots. That's great. Oh yeah, we're so glad that the city paid for them." I mean, come on,
Vince. His district. It's in his district.
It's right in the middle of his district. It's obvious. So that was my contention. So yeah, I don't think we ever accused him of somehow using some 250 or 300,000 or whatever it ends up being to do that. It was just a strange comment. And I have to say, Vince, that you're ranking right up there. That little short that we posted with you saying that in the clown music has been one of the most watched videos that we have put out.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, and I'm glad to see it, but Vince's health has gotten really good.
It's great.
It is. And you know how I know? Because this meeting here, I was sitting out in the parking lot and I was on the phone with, I ain't going to say who, but somebody from DC, and I couldn't come inside, right, for the meeting. So I was late. Well, Vince, I guess, was late too. Well, he pulls up into the parking lot and he's hurrying. He grabs his coat, jumps out of the truck, grabs his coat. And I'm telling you, he ran across that parking lot like a jackrabbit. I mean, I don't know that I could run as fast as he was running to get in there to the meeting.
What? Oh, I thought you were going to tell me he was running over there to shake your hand.
Oh, no. He was running to get into the meeting. And I thought to myself, when I seen him run across that parking lot, I was like, Dad gum, I don't think I could beat him if me and him went to the track. He zipped across there like a lightning bolt. I mean, he needs to go try out for the Saints or something. I mean,
well, you know, those Italians are usually, I think, pretty good in the Olympics at running and all that. So, whatever.
Oh, yeah,
is he Italian, Sicilian? I can't remember.
I don't know. He makes some of them good sandwiches down there. I know they were off the chain. Y'all should go try them.
Yeah, those yard sign sandwiches. All right, so let's continue on.
Councilman Hammonds, please give your committee update and recommendations.
I think we will defer this to the full council.
Okay. Councilman Hammonds has supplied each of us with a copy of his report. However, the clerk has notified me that.
So, I don't know, is it just me, or is that not the full council with the exception of one member?
Yeah, with the exception of Joel. I mean, yeah, they had a quorum, so they could have voted to do stuff.
Oh, So
I mean,
I don't know.
they did the required notice. It was a special listed as a special meeting.
I don't know. It seems odd that you got all the full council except for one. I don't know. It seems odd to me. Does it not seem odd to you? Does it not seem odd to anybody else? I don't know. What do y'all think? I mean, you got a majority right there. You're only missing one person. I mean, what's the holdup here on voting to send this stuff to somebody to investigate it? The AG and all them people. I mean, seems odd.
Maybe they were waiting on Richard Ray or even Charles Jacobs.
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know. Well,
maybe they wanted Tommy to be there.
I don't know. So when we say people watching meetings don't necessarily, have a full grasp, I don't know. Y'all saw the committee say we're going to send it to the full council. Well, you're sitting here and you got the full council, and then you just see, well, we're going to wait for the full council, and you're missing one person. I don't know. Seems odd.
Yeah, it's almost like there were some behind the scenes shenanigans maybe going on or something, but who knows?
I don't know. One's mind should wonder about why would you not just dispense with business right now? You should have a question mark in your mind. But Chris Smith is speaking, and I rudely cut him off. Let's let him keep talking.
The Tuesday meeting, that would be August 12th. The city attorney's office and the mayor have requested for an executive session to be placed on that meeting to specifically discuss this. So I'm going to defer that this council not make any recommendations today. Give each of you an opportunity to read Councilman Hammond's report. We'll go through that executive session, and we will come out and make an informed decision after that. So is there anybody opposed to that recommendation?
There's some problems with that, Mr. Smith. Yeah, now you got me stuck on this deal about why not vote for the recommendations right then and there. It's almost like, maybe I'm just speculating here, I have no idea. It's almost like something was going on behind the scenes. And God help them if we find out about that.
Yeah, it makes one wonder if everyone was on the same page on this, or if maybe not everybody had an opportunity to consume all of the information as of yet. Maybe
not.
It was a little premature, because you got to remember, I mean, these guys they're not doing like before. You didn't have walking quorums. You don't have, them knowing all the answers. They're trying to do it the right way. And, I could see that if I just walked in, if I was Vince and I just ran in from the parking lot and I get stuck in my hand this report at that moment, there's no way I have had time to read all the information from the committee meeting to this meeting. There's no way.
Yeah.
So
look, that's true.
And I'm not saying anything about Vince being anywhere on this issue. I'm not. I just used him as an example. I know he was getting late. I know they didn't get the report. So I know that he's not had time to digest it. So we criticize our elected officials on taking votes when they're not informed. The legislature does it all the damn time. And It's wrong there. Why is it not wrong here? So without, I'm going to say in this regard that I think this may have been the smart move. Now, I don't know whose idea it was. Hammond's made this point to have the full council. Obviously, they had enough people to take action, but Hammond's did this. I'm going to say that some people had reservations without knowing all the facts. Or something else. I don't know what.
Yeah,
but either way,
Yeah, hopefully there was no behind the scenes politicking shenanigans or anything like that go on that we would find out about or something like that. And yeah, I think you might be right that it's just, yeah, however long the report was, we hadn't seen it. I don't think they've released any copies yet. Yeah, it was probably just a little bit to digest. So I don't fault Chris for moving it to the regularly scheduled Tuesday meeting to give everybody time to digest and process the report. I don't fault him for that. Now, his tying it into the executive session thing, well, that's a whole other can of worms.
That is a whole nother can of worms. Well, I don't know that he was tying it in, and I think he articulates that here in a second, but the administration immediately, they were the ones that submitted, and you hear Phyllis talking about that she had kind of gotten it a little late, and she acknowledged that, I think she acknowledged that she had a little bit of it may have been partly her fault of it being late, submitted late or something to that. It was no big deal, but obviously the intent was to send all of this to an executive session, which I think it was, it was in this meeting. Wes spoke, I spoke. There were several people that got up and spoke and spoke well against that. And anyway, I'm rambling. We can keep going.
Yeah, go. If you still got control, go ahead and hit play or wherever you want to go.
This report. However, the clerk has notified me that the Tuesday meeting, that would be August 12th, the city attorney's office and the mayor have requested for an executive session to be placed on that meeting to specifically discuss this. So I'm going to defer that this council not make any recommendations today. Give each of you an opportunity to read Councilman Hammond's report. We'll go through that executive session and we will come out and make an informed decision after that. So is there anybody opposed to that recommendation?
I have a question, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
When did this executive session take place? When did this come about?
I think it was submitted by the deadline yesterday, but it wasn't?
I got it this morning, but I told them that there was no way that I could get the agenda out by the normal deadline. And so that if they wanted to submit things, they could, until I wanted to wait till after this meeting. And with everything that's been going on this week, I knew that there was no way that I could get it out yesterday.
Okay.
So they submitted it this morning.
So they submitted it within the time frame that the clerk allowed them.
So I have been working on this for almost 60 days. And now that I've got a report ready, now it's convenient that they want to go into executive session and talk about it.
Mr. President.
I have the floor, Mr. President.
I'll get to you in a second, Mr. Ray. I understand your frustration, but we also...
It is very frustrating. It is very frustrating to me. It is frustrating to the citizens of Bossier. That is why people do not trust us. They don't trust local government. They don't trust federal. They don't trust state because of stuff just like this. I was elected by District 1 to be a steward of the citizens' money, and not only District 1, but of all of the city of Bossier, and do what is right.
Good statement, Brian.
And that's what I've been trying to do for the past 60 days, is what is right. So people have a better understanding of this council, so there is more transparency. But now all of a sudden, since I have a report that, let's go to executive session now, that is what is frustrating to me. That is what is frustrating to every citizen.
I gotta stop it for a second. I gotta give him credit right there, full credit. He is saying exactly what the large majority of all of us out here and across Bossier that are paying any attention to this are thinking. He is literally saying it out loud. Go, Mr. Hammonds. The bull in the china closet. You're our hero.
All right. I think we're at the right point, and it gets good here too. So guys, these meetings have been just pure gold. And again, in the spirit of open debate, this is what you're longing for. You're longing for your elected officials to have these discussions in the public, and he's right. That's what people are pissed off about. They don't want things done behind closed door. They want these discussions to happen out in the open, because you can make a clear decision on what your position is on things. So
I agree.
Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have stated since March 25th that these are issues that are related to open litigation and open claims, and they are, if we do not discuss them in executive session, then we put the city in a bad position from a litigation standpoint and a bargaining standpoint.
Hey, hold on.
Consistently.
Hold on right
I said
there.
it
I want to
in
pause
every document.
just a second over his mention of a bargaining point. What the hell bargaining point, Richard Ray? Y'all already wrote the check. The concrete's dry. They're parking on it.
Right. I
wish I was up there. I wish I was up there because I'd have ripped him a new rear end. All right, sorry. Let's get through this, or I got to quit, or we'll never make it through this before midnight. Here we go. I'll hit play.
Copious amounts of documents that I submitted. Every one I've requested that it be an executive session. The world learned about this special meeting and this council meeting at 10 a.m. yesterday, the exact 24-hour deadline for the notice, which is frustrating.
Now, wait a minute. I distinctly remember several meetings that happened and were posted. In fact, I remember one meeting where we were standing down there, a charter commission meeting, and I think Richard Ray was the one that we were literally standing there right at the hour when it was supposed to be, and there was a dispute that
as to what time. Yeah, Richard Ray.
And he finds it frustrating. What about the rest of us? Can we not find it frustrating too? I mean, welcome to the team, bruh.
He's like the child that you have that tries to weasel out of everything that goes wrong. Some people respect you more, Richard, if you just kind of fess up or don't try to weasel out of stuff. All right.
I mean, it's okay when he's doing it, but it's not okay when somebody else is doing it. I mean, all right, here we go.
I submitted that request for executive session this morning because, as Ms. McGraw said, because of everything's going on, she had given a little bit more grace on the time. And I feel it's appropriate because we did it back in April the 8th. We had an executive session and we spoke to the then council and explained everything. We had met with Mr. Smith and Mr. Hammonds on March 31st and explained everything. And I believe it's appropriate to explain it to the new council members. And I didn't have any idea about your report, Councilman Hammonds. I learned about it today. I haven't seen it. I hope to get to see it.
You can address the president.
Well, and let me say, Mr. President and Mr. Hammonds and members of the council, I'm trying to apologize to you, Mr. Hammonds. And if I can address you and apologize, I would like to, because I agree with Mr. Smith. This is not how we should conduct business, and it's not how I would normally conduct business. But I also
wait a minute
in a public meeting.
Pause that. Not how he would normally conduct business. Really? Like, you're literally the one that walked up to the podium in the meeting before this meeting, was told that there's no public commentary, and you just kept running your mouth and let your mouth overload your ass. Now, you're doing it again, but that's not how you would normally do it, like you literally just did it. Come on, Richard Ray.
Well, I'm wondering about, and I wish we could just go pull it up, but I'm wondering about this, pre-charter commission meeting. And there was some dialogue that took place between then Preston Friedley and one Richard Ray. And that sure didn't seem businesslike. Remember that one?
That guy he takes the cake.
It almost seems like a pattern a little bit, but hey, let's let people keep on hearing.
As a citizen, I should be able to speak.
You've already threatened me with being
Mr. Hammonds, Mr. Ray has the floor.
So you can address the president.
Mr. Hammonds, Mr. Ray has the floor.
I haven't threatened him with anything. I don't know what he's talking about. But I apologize. We're trying to communicate better. I think that we've, things move so quickly sometimes in government. It's hard to communicate about everything.
Things move quickly in government. That is literally the first time
that I have tried my best to communicate. I'm trying really hard. I'm here, doing my job. I love my job, but
please don't fire me.
We can communicate better, and I look forward to getting this issue behind all of us.
Thank you.
One more question, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Has the city been served with a lawsuit on this issue?
Yes.
Here we go.
Yeah, listen to this.
Did you hear that? Has the city been served with a lawsuit on this? And Richard Ray says yes.
Yes. Which is a lie.
Start it over again.
Thank you.
I have one more question, Mr. President.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Has
Hammond.
the city been served with a lawsuit on this issue?
Yes.
I would have to defer to the city attorney's office.
We've been served?
Yes.
Where's that at?
Where's it pending?
We've not seen a lawsuit.
You get
Listen,
lawsuits all the time. I don't send them to you.
Respectfully, discussion of lawsuits is not going to happen in a public meeting.
that's
Well,
the point.
at least,
when
Mr.
Richard
President,
Ray
the
realized
lawsuit-
he had screwed up.
Well,
you notice how he changed his wording. He realized he had screwed up. Oh, we get them all the time. I'll send them to you.
but I have to go back to that Wiley Slick Willie thing. I mean, technically what he said was correct. He's not, I mean, everybody can rip him. He's not lying here.
Wait, who's
Because
not lying?
Richard Ray.
Okay.
What is the subject matter we're talking about here? We're talking about going into executive session over what they listed. Well, it listed several things. A Moore lawsuit, and then it additionally listed the parking lot stuff. So was there a lawsuit on one of those things? Yes, there was. So his answer
Correct.
of yes is technically correct.
There was a case on that, but specifically they were talking about the already constructed parking lots. I agree with what you're saying, but he screwed up when he said yes, because let's back it up just a little bit again. Richard Ray, Hammonds clarified somewhat, and then Richard realized he'd screwed up and came back with we get lawsuits all the time, I'll send them to you retort.
Well, that's right, but he's going to go back and he's going to say, when I said yes, I was meaning and thinking all of them. I wasn't thinking what you were saying, Hammonds. That's what he's going to say.
Again, back to why he didn't want to sign an affidavit attesting to the correctness of all the documentation. Once you sign it, you signed it.
You going back or not?
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry. We can go forward.
We were served with some time ago, has to do with the access issues around there. It's the more properties that you're aware of.
But the ones that I am specifically talking about have not served us with a lawsuit.
Well, the executive session request includes the lawsuit that we've been served with.
See?
If you're talking about these properties,
the
the ones on the west side, some of the west side properties have not. They're open, they're threats of litigation, and they're identified.
Threats.
Well, that's appropriate measure
it's
of
not,
a way to
Richard.
go into executive session.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. You have anything else?
It might be
No, thank you,
appropriate, but it's not
Does any
legally
other council
required.
member
Richard,
have?
you know that.
Right. Threats, but nothing in writing, nothing.
All right, so let's pause for a second. I don't have any idea where we are in the notes right now, but I want to go to the formal written demand. Let's see, or do I want to go to the threats? All right, yeah, let me do this real quick. So I may be deviating from the notes. Just remember where we are right there. This one is, we've already posted this, but this is the FAQs on the open meetings laws. What is considered litigation for the purpose of a closed meeting? A body is not allowed to close a meeting to discuss the possibility of litigation. A body is not allowed to close a meeting to discuss the possibility of litigation. You can go look up RS 42:19 right now, and it will verify that. And let's see, just to further prove that point, the notice shall contain a statement identifying any court case number or parties relative to any pending litigation. You're right, Duke. They did list the case number for that one case. That had nothing to do with John Settle, Scott's Audio, or Bossier Power Equipment. Period. There is no pending litigation for that. So, and Richard Ray knows this. He does know the law, in spite of how much we make fun of him. But just in case you doubt, the FAQ right there, here is revised statute 42:17. Strategies, and so a public body may hold an executive session for one of the or more of the following reasons. Down here I have it highlighted in yellow. prospective litigation after formal written demand, which is what Hammonds was alluding to at today's regular meeting. There it is in the statute. And Jacobs tried to come up with a little retort for that. There it is in the statute right there. All right. Just wanted to clarify that for everybody.
Well, I'm going to try to get through this meeting real quick. There's 3 more points I want to make. I'm not going to go through all of them. I want to give Wes Marriott and John Settle some credit. They made some comments. We're going to listen to a few of their comments. And then yours truly got up there and spoke. And anyway, we might listen to me talk again. I don't know. How selfish is that?
Silence.
Horrible.
Silence.
But there's a point that there's a few people that of what I said will know the cases that I cited and what I was talking about. But anyway, let's listen to Wes for a second.
President, I'm here today not just as a citizen, but as someone who has followed the government's conduct specifically this government's conduct with increasing concern. Mr. President, there's no need for your earlier apology. The people of the city are frustrated, just like Mr. Hammonds, and they're rightly upset by the circumstances. It appears the city, now and historically, has a disdain for the law. I want to speak directly about the investigative committee hearing that you just discussed and the troubling admissions we heard from Mr. Ray. First, Mr. Ray admitted that he does not retain emails for longer than 30 days. Let that sink in. A public official, an employee of this government, an attorney charged with protecting the legal integrity of Bossier City voluntarily deletes or fails to retain public records. This is a violation of Louisiana public records law. Title 44 of the Louisiana Revised Statute is clear: all public records, including emails, must be preserved for the legally mandated retention period, usually scheduled at 3 years, and in many cases, permanent. The city attorney's office is not exempt from this requirement. They're the ones supposed to be advising compliance. Instead, it sounds like they're casually erasing the paper trail. This is why people are frustrated, because we try to uncover the truth, and we're hampered by unnecessary and unlawful delays, and it's unacceptable. Secondly, Mr. Ray claimed this council does not have the authority to subpoena records or compel production of documents during an investigation. That's false. We all heard it right here from this podium. Section 3.15 of the Bossier City Charter gives this council the authority to compel the attendance of witnesses who are city employees and compel the production of records during investigations. Mr. Hammond's comments were very clear and very pointed that he requested records that he did not receive. That is a power this council has, and it's a power an investigative committee had. Mr. Ray confounded the issue by saying he didn't have to produce a sworn statement. That's not the question that was asked, and this is a tactic that is frequently used by the city's legal office, is to answer a question and argue a point that was not made. The question asked was, where are the records I requested? The answer was, I'm not required to produce a sworn statement under perjury. 2 + 2 does not equal 5. We want to hear 4.
I mean, Wes is just so on point and succinct in the points he was making. I mean, I don't know how much more clear. And I think summarily after Wes's comments were done, I think if that may have been the point where Richard Ray commented and said, you know, that basically called him a liar.
Well, here, no, the only thing, so Richard Ray said he was and that's what I was alluding to earlier in the show. Richard Ray said he was great at wordsmithing, very intelligent, very smart, or whatever he said, but he's a liar and he manipulates the words, which of course Richard Ray does the exact thing. But think about this concept for a minute. Richard Ray did not deny the content of anything that Wes just said. The only retort that he had was that he misquoted the charter. It was section 309. I think that was the title of a show that we had, section 309, or whichever the correct section was. That was Richard Ray's only retort, and then he threw out the red herrings about everything else. So, good job as usual, Wes. We forgive you for misquoting the charter. It's okay.
If you can't, let's see.
Which video are you trying to? Let's see what's going on here.
Same video, 1850 mark.
All right. Looks like we may have just lost replay. Let me make sure we're still online. Yep. All right. Replay is slowing down for some reason. Which one?
1850.
1850? There's an 8.
Yeah, the 18. No, there's not a mark there. Just go to the 1850 mark.
Oh, okay.
You'll see Settle standing at the podium, at the lectern.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. So I gave you back dual control of it. That's what you're talking about right there?
Yeah, go ahead and play.
All right, technical difficulties, folks. Let's see if we can go again.
Well, I'll give my Bossier address. How about that? 1915 Citizens Bank Drive. I really thought this was where we signed up to get free parking lots because my building is right behind those other two, but I'm in the wrong place. I do have some standing to talk because I pay more ad valorem taxes to Bossier City and Bossier Parish than I do where I live in Shreveport. And I've had a building here for 22 years. I just want to commend y'all for tackling a tough issue. You know, there's not much of a honeymoon period that y'all have had. I've followed the Bossier Council for quite some time. And so you've got a tough issue, and I commend everyone for jumping right on it. That's what you should do. Like it or not, your 4 years are going to be determined by something like this, and that's just the reality of it. You know, you can do a lot of good works, but you're going to set the pace with how y'all handle this now. That's just how you're going to be remembered. That's just the way it works in the public world. You don't get a lot of press for the good things you do. I try to give press to you and to the governments when they do good things. But good news doesn't make the 5 o'clock news. And you're going to be remembered on how you handle this. So I commend your courage, and I commend the spirit and the concerns you have. And I want you to push on, because I don't think an executive session is going to solve this. I mean, I know why there's that, but every time there's an executive session in government and then they come back and people, and the votes suddenly change or they look like it's a cover-up, it just gets worse. So I'm hoping that after the executive session, that this is turned over to third parties, the state police, the Louisiana auditor, the attorney general, and the DA. Because the executive session is just that, it's closed to the public. And I don't see a magic wand coming down to resolve it. So have your executive session, but I hope that at the end of the day, that y'all turn it over to third parties. And I think that's how government should work in this situation, because if you don't, you're going to forever be said, well, you know, they went in executive session in the secret room, they just solved it. So let's keep things going that way. I appreciate everyone's jumping on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chittle. All right, is there any
Free
comment from the
parking
council?
lots.
Yeah.
All right, let me pause
Yeah.
that.
So he basically, I mean, he's right. And that is just what has been the history of executive sessions in Bossier. That's where, that's where the dirty work happens. And I think that's probably why it was such an urge to get it into executive session. And, hearing his words, hearing Wes's word, I didn't go there with any intentions to speak, but I had to. I mean, and I thought it was important to state, I mean, I have a personal experience in Bossier City. I mean, I happened upon some things that they were doing that weren't right in Bossier City. And guess what? I said something. And when I said something, you know what? They came after me. And in fact, back during that time, and that's actually was my political awakening. That is what got me into politics, was them coming after me. In fact, one of the people, and if you're out there, you could be watching, you'll know who you are. And you told me, you said, Duke, this is what they did. They threatened me, Rex. This is what they said. They came to me and they said, Duke, they said, you know what? Said, you ain't nothing but top water. I was like, oh, yeah? And they said, yeah. I said, one of these days, that big old bass from underneath is just going to come up and just going to swallow you on the surface. You ain't nothing but top water.
Nothing but top water.
From that moment on, it was game on.
Yeah,
anyway,
and a lot of people don't realize that, these sorts of shenanigans go on. And it's unfortunate.
Absolutely.
All right, you ready for
1017 Benton Road? I think the last election showed a desire from the public to have more transparency in Bossier City. I think that's why folks sought to turn the page in Bossier. And, as someone who has been around Bossier, I was born here, been here my whole life. I retired from Bossier City, and someone who has experienced, some of the lack of transparency in Bossier City and suffered as a result of it. When I hear the term liar, in fact, I was accused as being a liar by the city of Bossier only to ultimately find out that it was the city of Bossier that was conducting training that wasn't in compliance with state or national standards and providing a substandard service to the citizens of Bossier. And unfortunately, that wasn't the first time this exact thing. In fact, there was a case with Mike Dooley where the city of Bossier again. So when I hear when someone puts an objection up here to what's being discussed and they're accused of being a liar, I would say the best way to address that is with crystal clear transparency. But it's a pattern in Bossier to not allow the public to have access to all the information, to draw their own conclusions on things. You know, case in point, I've sent public information requests for things regarding the Link Coleman lawsuit, to which I'm pretty confident, if I recall correctly, I'm shooting off the cuff here, but I was told I couldn't have access to that. It was sealed. I also understand that councilmen have been told that they have gag orders on them, only to find out that nobody knows about that. That's what the public was told, but that wasn't the case, and it resulted from going into an executive session. So my point is I would ask that this council, not go to executive session. And if you do go to executive session, how would you go to executive session and have a discussion with people who are said to be involved in this issue you're debating, giving you counsel? I think that's a bad decision. I don't have a lot of faith on that, you're going to get a lot of progress if you go to Benton or even in Baton Rouge. I hope that's not the case, but I don't think you guys going into executive session is a positive thing. I think that's where transparency goes to die, and I would urge you to not do that.
Thank you, Mr. Lowry.
Well said, Mr. Lowry.
I was just sitting out there listening to all of it, and I felt like somebody had to say something. Had to say it.
Yeah. And look, it's easy to say when it's the truth and you've lived through it.
You got that right. You got that right. I mean, and there is a history in Bossier, and it's an unfortunate history. And I hope that all the work that everybody put into this last election, I hope we're going to turn that page. And this issue and this conflict that we're having right now over these parking lots, this is the determinative issue as to whether or not Bossier City actually turns the page or whether they don't. And, after I made those comments, sitting on the front row right there is Bill Alley. And, Mr. Alley he came up to me afterwards. I haven't spoken to him in a long time, probably 15 to 20 years. And he came up to me, and he even came up to Wes and John Settle, and he was like, thanks for your comments or whatever. He said, I wasn't born here, but I've lived here all but the first 10 years of my life. And this is what he said. He said, we need to support these councilmen. He said, I think they're wanting to do right. And he says, you know what? He says, if we get this right and we get things transparent, like what we're hoping, he said, that sends a message across the whole country, especially even to businesses that want to come here, that shows, hey, Bossier's doing things right. And it's imperative we get this one right. Imperative.
Yeah. Oh, I agree 100%. I agree. All right. Shall we switch over to today's meeting?
Amen. We got to get there because it got good today, and we wasn't even expecting it to be good.
Right.
Who knew Red Rover was going to show up?
I know. My neighbor showed up and didn't even let me know it, but he did an exceptional job. Yeah, we were under the impression it was just going to be a, boring meeting, but that was far from the case. And I want to say we appreciate everybody, over 120 something people watching right now. And we're nearly the 2-hour mark. We'll try to get through this as, quick as we can, because it wasn't the entire meeting, but there were some pretty interesting things said here. So we want to try to get through it. All right. So I've got it queued up. I'll start the live review so we can have dual control our little service here seems to have slowed down a little bit. So I'm
Well,
gonna let's.
I see Cody McKellar in the comments, and I'm just wondering because I noticed that he was having to be wheeled in a wheelchair. So I can only assume that he wore his down foot out kicking butt somewhere and had to have somebody push him around in a wheelchair.
He was kicking their ass, and Benton got gimp leg and had to have the wheelchair. Yeah, I was
wore his foot out.
I was like, who's that guy in the wheelchair? And then I was like, that looks like Cody. Oh, this is going to be fun. So
He wore his foot out.
Yeah. All right. So I marked this stuff at the beginning, the cyber innovation presentation. Honestly, I don't want to review any of that. Folks, we would encourage all, we shared it out today. Go watch the full YouTube link if you want to watch the full meeting. We encourage you to do that. Oh, I will say this to kind of toot our horn just a little bit. I started watching the meeting. There were 54, 55 people watching. I shared the YouTube meeting link out on bossierwatch. Within 8 minutes, it was bumping 100 people watching that live city council meeting. So
hey,
I think that's a testament to how many folks are paying attention. Again, whether you agree with us or not, at least paying attention to what's going on. I hope we were able to help give the city a little bit of a boost and people to see what was going on at the full meeting. Okay.
Okay, Cody says it wasn't his foot. He wore his knee out kicking that butt. He hurt his knee kicking that butt. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
okay,
Thanks for the
yeah.
clarification, Cody.
All right. Shall we go to the, what was that, the 20-minute mark where Phyllis reads the special item or reads the agenda item for Chris Smith for the special counsel? That's the first real thing I've got.
Yeah, because they had to add it to the agenda, if I recall correctly, right?
Well, but here's the thing. They had to add this request but this was an add-on item. So like, I don't know how many of them knew about this beforehand. I don't think
Oh,
we knew about it.
Yeah, that's right. Go there.
Yeah,
Let's
so
roll
just so we know what this agenda item is. All right, here we go.
Smith, adopt a resolution requesting the city attorney to
okay,
obtain special legal counsel to advise the city council in connection with an internal investigation where the city attorney and the assistant city attorney may have a conflict of interest. First and final reading.
So move.
Second.
All right.
We've got a motion by Councilman Hammonds and a second by Councilwoman Ross. Is there any public comment?
All right, so I'm going to pause it right there because the Colonel comes up twice. What they're doing was trying to authorize the hiring of a special counsel, special lawyer for the city of Bossier and get somebody to advise the council, not Ray and Jacobs. Is that pretty close to being right?
Yeah, they're having to amend the agenda here at the beginning, and I think they're having to put that on the agenda, and there's some discussion on it. And I think that later on in the meeting, they get to discussing the resolution. This is a resolution. Later on, they get to it, and they actually have the debate on it as they get through the meeting.
Right.
But interestingly, the thing that you guys have to take away, now we just showed you the two special meetings that took place where they kept talking about deferring to the full council, and then the committee deferring to the council. And here we are and voting to send the stuff to the state police, the DA, the AG, the Pope. None of that's in there. None of it's in there. That's not in there. But what is in here now is trying to hire some kind of special counsel for the councilman to look over or to investigate. And the interesting thing, this wasn't on the agenda, so it isn't like you can go back and read the resolution. The only evidence you have of what exactly is the is what is read out in the minutes here in this meeting, and you'll have to hear it yourself because there's a debate and a little bit of of whether the investigation is over or whether the investigation is not over with. And I would contend, I don't know that the investigation is over with. So I think somebody could make the case that it hasn't concluded, but even with everybody saying that it has.
We'll see. All right, so Colonel Crockett was first up to bat, and again, being a little self-serving, he happens to mention Bossier Watch. We got mentioned twice in this meeting, once by name and once indirectly. I mean, my head is so big, I'm surprised it's fitting inside this circle tonight, Duke.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I think the second time they were talking about you. I'll take the first time.
All right, here we go.
Agenda item where you're discussing the legal issues related to the parking lot. And I appreciate especially Councilman Hammond's and the firm position that you're taking on that. I think we as a public need to get behind that because sunlight is the best disinfectant, and I think that Duke Lowry's comments about things go to die in closed session should be listened to. The people of Bossier City appreciate your efforts, and Mr. President, I appreciate your efforts on this too. According to, and if you're a citizen and you're not watching Bossier Watch, they covered this issue pretty well, but I wanted to raise it in the meeting. RS 4219, closed sessions may discuss current litigation, but the way the city attorneys wrote the agenda item on the parking lots is that you included the work that was done in those parking lots. The way the statute reads is that you can discuss things under current litigation. I believe, I know you also list John Settle's work, and I think that he's not pursuing any current litigation. I don't think it should be discussed. The work that was done in the potential complaint to get the issue investigated by the Attorney General and the state police, that's where this matter lies. And the way that this agenda item is written, I think that we need confidence from you that you're not going to discuss the issue related to those problem areas. I understand that there is a case that has been filed, and I understand that you might want to discuss that. But again, I think the issue that the public wants to hear is that you're going to try to be public and openly disclose everything that you can and not hide behind closed session. So that's what I think needs to be done, and I hope that's clarified today. The other thing is, no one has ever come out and said in definitive ways, the mayor said on the radio that this was related to access to their businesses, not related to damage to their driveways. Nobody has clarified in public why that work was done and why it was in such a big hurry. That's what people are wanting to hear from your office, Mayor. I know you didn't accept an invitation to go on Keel to talk about this. We need those answers because we're getting conflicting information. So the public...
So I would have said, if I were at that podium, which I didn't go to the meeting, we're sitting here doing the political punditry, I would have said, real simply, you can't have it both ways. Which of y'all is lying? Is Tommy lying? Was it access or not? Or is Jacobs in the legal turkey department lying? It was pile driving. Which is it, boys? One of you's lying.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's the quandary that the council finds himself in, is they've got so many contradictory points here that how are they to know what is real and what is not real? And the evidence that, you know, apparently Councilman Hammonds has collected in his investigation confirms that not everybody or not everybody is on the same page on exactly what happened. And so they have knowledge that something's not right. My question is why do they have to have a meeting? Why do they have to have anything? Why can't they just go ahead and send it? They're all government. They all take an oath to the charter and to the state constitution. And I don't think I think individually, any one of those people could send a complaint from their capacity, their elected capacity.
Yeah.
I don't think it takes a vote of any of this.
It doesn't. It doesn't
I'm
at
just
all.
saying.
It doesn't at all.
In some senses, I'm sitting back here and I'm watching all of this and I'm thinking to myself, well, this is all kind of theater anyway. The real
Dog
question
and pony
is,
show.
will anybody outside of Bossier do anything?
Hey, Brian Hammonds, our favorite bull in the china closet. Here's the next piece of china you should break. Send the report to the AG's office and send the report to the state police. What's Chris Smith going to try to do? A recall petition against you? I don't think he's going to get very far with that.
Now,
Send it.
hold up. I have to take issue with what you just said.
Uh-oh. We may disagree, folks.
Why would you say that about Chris Smith? Why would you say that? You said as if you said that. I'm going to have to defend Chris here. You're saying that as if Chris is the bad guy and Chris is trying to prevent there from being an investigation or anything going forward.
No, that's not what I believe. I believe that he is delaying it for whatever reason. That is quite obvious. I don't disagree 100% with moving it to the full council meeting that we're watching today. But they could have done this faster. And I don't think that Chris Smith is involved in this except for trying to figure out what really went on and getting to the truth. That's not what I'm saying. But he is definitely having a kerfuffle with Mr. Hammonds over this issue. And they had a major kerfuffle here in just a few minutes at this meeting.
Well,
I mean, it burned up a lot of time in the meeting.
Well, that's right. But let me take you back to the special meeting. Who made the motion to put it off to this meeting?
And I should know that, but I'm having another Richard Ray moment, and that we just watched that a couple of minutes ago.
You would say it was Chris Smith, but it wasn't. It was Brian Hammonds.
He did make the motion.
He did make the motion. So I'm just I'm
fair point.
I think both of them are trying to get to the same point, and I'm just saying I don't.
All right, let me.
They're trying to get to the same place at different paths. I really believe that.
Let me give you my quick knee-jerk analysis on it. I think you're correct. I think they're trying to get to the same end point. I think they're, like you said, taking two different paths. I think Chris Smith is trying to take the more politically correct path, and Hammonds, being the bull in the china closet, like we say a lot, he's just trying to march straight forward with it and get it done. So I think those are the two paths. Now, which one's the right path? Well, probably, if you're ever going to run for mayor or anything else, maybe Chris Smith is the right path. But then you could also say that Hammonds, by charging forward and literally voicing what we all think all the time, that might end up being a more popular stance. I don't know. And maybe they'll be able to block other politicians who might be angling to be mayor of Bossier City before too long.
Well, I mean, look, we can armchair quarterback all we want, but the truth of the matter is we don't have all of the information. And
yeah, we don't have the report. Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is I can only say we don't have everything. And there's a reason that they pushed off voting from the previous meeting to this meeting. And, this thing with this special meeting and where we went from here. I mean, look, these are not dumb people. None of these people are dumb people. They know what they're doing and they know the information. So I think probably even us, the armchair quarterbacks, I think we all need to take a step back and we need to give these guys room, just like what John Settle said previously in his comments, that these guys are kind of thrown in the fire right here. And I think we
Yeah.
need to give them all the opportunity to work through this thing. We all supported them during the election to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I think we need to let them work through this. In the end, if it falls apart, you know what? I think we'll be able to see. But I think we've got to give them the grace and give them the room to operate.
So let me state this, and we'll move on because we got a lot more to go. I want to make sure that it's crystal clear that I think Chris Smith is doing a great job of navigating through these meetings, giving everybody the opportunity to speak, and not pulling any of those shenanigans. It is a 180-degree turnaround from the previous years. I don't think Chris Smith in any way is involved in any of the shenanigans over the parking lot scandal. I think, like you just said, they're all having to play cleanup over this mess. And once they get over this hurdle, hopefully there won't be too many other messes they got to clean up, and they can get on the process of moving the city forward in the future with more positive stuff and get the city debt down and all that good stuff. So I want to make that crystal clear. Overall, I support both Chris Smith and Hammonds. Of course, I'm going to lean towards the Hammond side because just get this stuff out there and let's be done with it. We've been dicking around with this, excuse my language, for far too long now.
I think that's almost something that Chris said, or not Chris, Hammond said today. Is like, I'm tired of talking about it. Let's just vote.
Yeah, he did. He did.
In their debate today. But,
yeah.
I mean, look, we all like, I think, what is his name? Not George Carlin. He was married to the LSU guy. He was married to Mary Matlin. He was a Clinton advisor.
Yeah, the bald-headed guy.
Yeah, and he was a guy, and he said that, look, politicians, they're always flip-flopping around or whatever, but at the end of the day, the end result is what matters. And I think in this case, politicians flip-flop around, and it's hard to hold a politician down to one thing or the other. But I think the group that we have now, I think Chris is the kind of the level-headed one of the bunch. Brian is the bull in the china cabinet. We like that because we like Trump, and we like we're seeing the benefits of having a bull in a china cabinet on a national level. And I think people gravitate to that even on a local level, and they're wanting to see people fight. That's what they're wanting. And they're seeing that in Brian. But at the same time, you've got to have a level head. And look at who we're working against here. You're working against, as what did you say earlier? Trained liars.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with a weak adversary. You're dealing with an intelligent adversary. So at the same time, you've got to slow down. And you got to be smart about how you're doing it. I don't know that that's what's going on. James Carville.
James Carville. Yep. All right.
So anyway,
well, let's see what the man in the hat without his hat has to say.
15 Citizens Bank Drive. I was surprised to see I'm on the agenda for the executive session. I am not going to pursue any action against the city of Bossier for any potential damage against my building or my parking lot. So y'all don't need to discuss me in private, but if you want to, you can. And I didn't need my Uncle Dave to make my comment for me. Thank you, gentlemen and lady.
Thank you.
So
is there any
that takes
other
that
public
off.
comment?
Oh, look, it's my neighbor that I didn't know was in a wheelchair and had hurt his knee.
No, wore that knee out.
Yeah, I'm a bad neighbor.
Yes.
I don't know if, there you go.
So, for those of you that aren't familiar, the quick rundown, this is Cody McKellar, one of the co-owners of the Red Rover boarding kennel and dog grooming place and all that we have talked about extensively, and who is embroiled in a lawsuit and probably going to hand the city's hat to him when he's done, hopefully. Here we go. We need to listen to every word of this.
That's good. Cody McKellar, 2217 Hickory Ridge Drive. Good afternoon. I'm Cody. I'm one of the co-owners of Red Rover here in Bossier City. I'm here this afternoon because what's been done to my business and to me personally. It's wrong, it's corrupt, and an embarrassment to the city. Let's lay out the facts. It started with unannounced visits from Bossier City Animal Control sent under the order of city officials. They searched my license and properly zoned facility and found 0 violations. These reports can be provided. Because the outcome wasn't acceptable to the city officials, they sent Bossier City Police and the Director of Permits with the sole intent to make an arrest for a noise violation due to the barking dogs. Dogs. We operate a dog business. An occupational license was issued to us after a city official came and viewed the facility in person. Ultimately, I was arrested by BCPD despite the sergeant on duty saying, "You have me over here arresting this guy for basically nothing." However, the lieutenant stated, "The city attorney wants the citation written and we're going to write it." And finally, a search warrant was run on Red Rover when one of the key witnesses for the warrant application stated she has never witnessed any violations, but the police should look to see if possibly any city ordinances have been violated. And why? Because the deputy chief of the fire department, Steve Pinnell, happens to live behind the property that was zoned and permitted for this use. That's an abuse of office for a personal convenience. Council members, surely you're starting to see my dilemma. This is not just some misunderstanding. This is coordinated harassment. As a last resort, we sued. We've offered multiple opportunities to settle amicably. We were told directly by the city attorneys, Charles Jacobs and Richard Ray, that the city council will never approve it. Do they speak for you? The city gave Scott's Audio and Bossier Power a $2.5 million road and a $340,000 parking lot without even as much as a written demand. This is much more than some cracks in the concrete. My business has endured years of harassment, personal targeting, and reputational harm. I can't even get a good faith negotiation. Here we are today with another executive session in an attempt to untangle what has been done to the same players that have targeted me. Assistant City Attorney Richard Ray said last week, "I have the right to defend myself and not be falsely accused of crimes." Well, so do I. But I don't have the power of the government to weaponize against my critics. I have to defend myself in court and at a great financial burden. So what can you guys do? Give Red Rover a fair shake and consider the options to resolve this matter, or continue to allow a longtime Bossier City resident and business owner to be targeted and harassed. Thank you.
Bam.
Well, I mean,
Thank you, Mr.
did
McKellar. Is there any other
pick the mic
public
up off the
comment?
floor? Yeah, I guess he picked it up and left it there, even with his bad knee. But
Yeah. So that, what he just said in his few minutes of time there is the epitome, not of this council, but is the epitome of Bossier overall and a lot of the perception of Bossier, unfortunately. And so, again, while we may be a little harsh on the new council a little bit tonight and some of their procedures and all that, they're having to clean up a mess. Yeah, there's something to be said for Chris and Hammonds have been there for, the last 4 years, a little over 4 years as well, but they were pretty much hamstrung. And, all this stuff was going on that now these guys and gal with Miss Deborah are having to go through.
Right. I mean, and once they get this behind them, I think they'll have smooth sailing. I mean, unless Tommy and crew do more stupid crap, but they're going to have to navigate this and they're going to have to get through it. And I think Chris is doing the right job. He's trying to be, amicable on this deal. And him and Hambone go at it here, and I think we're fixing to show this a little bit. And I mean, and again, this is what you want out of government. I mean, these guys are two good friends, and they're debating. And that's not a bad thing. It's what we need out of our government. It's what we need to progress. And so regardless of what anybody thinks about the rest of this video or what we show you, but I mean, this is what you want out of your public servants.
Yeah,
I
agree.
think this is the height of what you want. This is what you want out of public servants. And if you're not getting this in other places and you're not getting this debate among friends in the public, you're being shortchanged if you don't get this.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That's the way I see it.
On debatable issues, we don't want groupthink other than the mundane everyday things that government has to do. Voting for a change order because a water main broke or whatever. Sure, there shouldn't really be any debate over that, unless somebody has some questions about its location or whatever. But Cliff Smith alluded in that one deal. He didn't allude. He pretty much said it. He told some folks that he wanted the city council to be boring. We only want you to be boring, Cliff, Mr. Smith, on the stuff that you need to be boring, the mundane, everyday functions of the government. But major stuff like this, we want y'all to have spirited debate back and forth. All right.
Wes in the comments made a really good post. And I mean, and I sorely appreciate stuff like this. I mean, it's why Mike Johnson uses it all the freaking time. But Wes is correct here. Thomas Jefferson and John Adams were great friends and fiercely debated each other often. Brian and Chris are both great patriots.
Yeah.
I agree. It's the exact same thing, and I would contend that Chris, and I'm not taking anything away from anybody else that's up there on the council, but I think the two hook and bulls are Chris and Brian. It's inevitable they're going to debate and they're going to lock horns, and this issue here is one of them in how best to proceed forward. And we all want things to happen yesterday. We all do. We all can't know what's happening in the background. We can't know every detail, but at the end of the day, you've got to trust these guys that they're going to do right, or that they're trying to do right, and you got to give them a chance. And I mean, what have they had? 4 meetings, 3, 4, 5 meetings already for this new council? I mean, damn. I mean, look at what you got going right here already within just a month or so of them being sworn in.
Yeah, you got a parking lot scandal cleanup, water meter scandal cleanup. I mean, maybe not a scandal per se, but all right. So where do we want to go from here in the meeting? Do we want to talk about the meters or the increasing the taxes?
No, let's get on through this.
Okay.
Are we increasing taxes? The answer is no. I mean, and Chris made a good move here. I mean, look, y'all want to criticize me for complimenting Chris here or what I'm doing, but I mean, you can either appreciate what I'm saying or you can whatever, but I think this was a good move. He called the numbers lady up there and he asked her, and I thought this was great the way that he did this. He says, what was the millage rate last year or whatever year? And she says, and then he says, okay, what's the millage rate going to be after this vote, basically? And she said, the same number. Says, so we're not rolling anything forward. We're not increasing taxes, right? And yep, that's right. So apparently some people, I guess, and I think they may be mixing some things up, but I would suspect the reason he did this is they're probably calling him, bitching at him. You're going to raise my taxes. You're going to raise my taxes. You're going to raise my taxes. But on one hand, you know what? That's why people run for office. You run for office. That's part of the job. You're going to get all those calls from people that don't know all the details, that are bitching, and we encourage people to get involved. But if you're going to get involved and you're going to speak to issue and you're going to gripe to your elected officials, at least put in the work to study the issue and know if you're going to call and you're going to gripe. Because too often, I mean, I hate to say it, people don't do their homework. They don't.
We literally about a year ago, almost a year ago exactly, almost, we spent a whole show with the tax man, Bobby Edmiston, the parish tax assessor. And we Bobby did a great job, went thoroughly through the millage rates and how all that process works. So I would encourage everybody, if you got questions, go on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, go back to, I think it was show 222, The Tax Man, and watch that show if you have questions about millage rates. Even if they had voted to roll forward, which I wouldn't agree with, they could only roll forward to the maximum amount that had been voted on by the voters. It's not like they can exceed that amount. So you need to understand how that process works. But like Duke said, like they did here at the meeting, they did not, correct me if I'm wrong, Duke, they did not roll forward at all. They, like you said, kept the millage rate the same.
Yeah, and I think this vote that they had on this issue was just more procedural than anything. So no, I mean, and Chris did a good job. He did it the way he did it so the public could see, and hopefully the public paid attention to this and as to what he did to show you that just because they're taking a vote doesn't mean that they're doing this or they're doing that. You know, there's a lot of procedural things that have to be done. That's not the end of the world, but people that don't do their homework on everything, or they're not reading it correctly, make some assumptions. Look, I'm guilty of it too. I'm not going to say that I'm not one of those people. I have made some assumptions and been wrong. But you know,
so
anyway,
Miss Jerry says we can't do our homework because we don't have the necessary degrees and playbook of GOP hidden plays. Well, Miss Jerry, you do have access to the internet. Almost all the laws and everything. Look, where do you think Duke and I get it? We go on the internet. And then you got us on Tuesday night, and you got Sobo Live and John Settle's articles to read and Jeff Sadow's articles to read. You pretty much got the playbook there. All right.
Yeah.
Cassie says, I'm just now reading, I'm confused. This is not the same as the tax increase. There is still a tax increase meeting on September the 9th, which is a possible roll forward, which is the one that Tommy's office put out, and he kind of got in a little hot water about. So we'll see how that meeting goes if they keep that on the agenda. But you're correct, Cassie. There will be another issue for rolling forward on September the 9th.
Yeah. So additionally, you know how we learned that we've got a lot of water meters in Bossier? I think it was 2,600, 2,400, some number like that of bad meters. And we learned that we're doing estimating. Again, public debate. Had there not been dialogue and question and answer at an open public meeting, we would not have learned that there are a lot of water meters in Bossier that your bills are just being estimated. And I'm not telling you that to try to get you to start blowing up your councilman. They're aware of the problem. They're doing something about it. And in fact, in this meeting, they allocated money to address that. And they,
yeah, and the young lady, I was going to say the young lady that came up to the podium with Amanda that obviously works in that department for the city did an excellent job of explaining the meters and how they work. She apparently knows her stuff with water meters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. And, you know, I will tell you that I have my doubts about there being an attempt to roll taxes forward. Coming up at a meeting in the future, I will bet you money there's not going to be any attempt. I would, with what's going on. I mean, listen, how is you got a parking lot gate going on right now, and you're telling me that City Hall is going to try to go for a tax increase, and all the council have been on record to say we're against the tax increase?
I think even Tommy Chandler would know not to do that or attempt that. I mean, granted, they did put it on the agenda, but I think that's going to fall flat on its face, but we'll see. Okay. Shall we jump ahead to the 109 mark, the resolution to retain an attorney?
Yeah, 110. Yeah.
All right, the 110. Okay, here we go. This is where they're going to, I think Phyllis reads it to the record. Here we go.
I thought as a council that we were finding our own legal representation and not allowing the city attorneys to find representation for us.
Madam Clerk, do you want to read the resolution into the record for me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I could have sworn she just said for the city attorney to find.
If you'll let the clerk read it.
Okay, I'm sorry. You have the floor then.
Resolution requesting the city attorney to obtain special legal counsel to advise the city council in connection with the internal investigation where the city attorney and assistant city attorney may have a conflict of interest. Whereas Bossier City Charter, Chapter 8, Section 8.01 requires that the legal department shall also be responsible for acquiring and monitoring any outside legal assistance the city may require. And whereas Bossier City Council Resolution 39 of 2025 established an investigative committee to review the use of public funds for parking lots at Scott's Audio and Bossier Power Equipment and report findings to the city council. And whereas this internal investigation involves matters in which the city attorney and/or the assistant city attorney may have a direct or perceived conflict of interest. And whereas the city council deems it necessary and in the public's best interest to ask the legal department to obtain independent legal counsel to advise the city council in the next steps of this investigation to ensure impartiality, transparency, and the integrity.
Put on the brakes.
To advise in the next steps of the investigation. Now, to advise in the next steps of the investigation. I mean, like that's saying
like
the investigation is ongoing.
Yeah, it ain't done.
So everybody is saying and everybody's thinking that the investigation is done. I mean, I heard Creighton say that, and I don't think he was lying or anybody's trying to hide anything. I don't think that's the case. But the resolution clearly says in the next steps of the investigation. That's what the resolution says.
Well, maybe they're calculating on if they go ahead, and maybe they've already done it, send it to the state police or the AG's office or all of the above. Heck, they could send it to the postmaster general for that matter. Maybe they're wanting to retain an attorney to give them legal advice in that part of the investigation, which would be at that point out of their control.
Well, I mean, the thing is you know, what I just heard, the investigation is not over with. It's going right now, still going, regardless of what they're saying. No care. I am not eating anything. They're saying that it is still ongoing. I mean, that's what that resolution just said.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, now they're talking about getting outside counsel to help them during the course of this investigation. And, you know, Hammonds and Chris kind of end up going at it here in just a second, a little bit. And there's some interesting things to glean from that dialogue here. And I think you're at that point. You could probably just play from where you're at. Right. And then I'll stop or you stop when you get to it. You'll know.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Of the investigative process. And whereas the City Council requests the legal department to retain legal assistance from Jennifer A. Foyer at the firm Dunlap Foyer LLC, a firm that has extensive knowledge in municipal law, to advise the City Council in connection with the aforementioned internal investigation. And whereas the cost associated with the retention of such outside legal counsel shall be paid from the appropriate legal services as required by a city charter. Therefore, be it resolved that the Bossier City Council hereby requests the city attorney to obtain special legal counsel to advise the city council with an internal investigation where the city attorney and the assistant city attorney may have a conflict of interest.
So, to answer your question, Councilman Hammonds, the charter in Chapter 8 gives the authority to the legal department to do it. So, this resolution is asking the legal department to do that and using a law firm that has extensive knowledge. The legal department didn't pick out the law firm.
All right, so I want to stop before we get into the pushback from Hammonds. How and when did the city council vote on the law firm?
How and when did they vote on the law firm? What are you talking about?
You just heard Chris Smith say, and they named in the resolution the law firm that they were retaining. When did they decide as the city council to retain that law firm?
Well, I would
mental telepathy.
Well, that's right, but this resolution came forward, or was put forward, or put on the agenda. Creighton Cochran acknowledged in one of the comments that he makes, I think, that he knew, because he asked, is this one of the firms that we talked about? So I would say that he was a party to the conversation. And Hammonds suggests or indicates, I forget.
So you're saying it was a walking quorum?
No, I'm not saying that at all, but I am saying that there was at least a couple of them that thought this was a worthy thing, including Hammonds.
Right.
And I can't remember what it was that gave me the indication from Hammonds. Creighton said, was this one of the law firms that we had discussed?
But my point is,
he was a party.
When did they decide that? At what meeting was that discussed?
Well, as long as it wasn't a quorum, and I don't know that they had a quorum. It doesn't have to be. If a minority of them wanted to get together and say, hey, we're going to do a resolution, and it'll either fly or it won't,
Okay. Just wondering. All right, here we go.
The city council picked out the law firm.
Yeah, I know that.
And so it's just us charging.
What? But you heard what he just said. Literally, he said the city council picked out the law firm. Really? When did they do that? All right, but I digress. It's just me. I'm just picking out the little stuff.
No, look, if they had a walking quorum, yeah, that wasn't right. But how is there any indication that they had a walking quorum in deciding? That's not my question, because I don't think these guys, I don't think they would do that. I don't. I remember how.
I don't think they would either, because like Chris Smith alluded to, there would be these pesky people talking about them all the time if they're picking apart everything that they said. I'm just wondering when the city council picked the law firm. That's all. I'm just asking the question, just like I would have if Bubadon or Montgomery would have said that.
But look, if a few of them got together and said, hey, we need to identify a law firm for whatever reason. Now, I will point out, I find it interesting. West Marriott has a pretty detailed thing in the comments. I'm sitting there looking at it. It takes up my whole freaking page. It's like he wrote a book in here. In which,
oh, yeah.
to me,
I'm not putting that on the screen.
Well, that screams something. But I tell you what, I'm going to read it because I think it's of substance. You ready?
Yeah, I'll see if I can get it to fit on the screen, but maybe not.
Well, I'll read it. If you recall, and we're going to have to take a political junkie lesson here. This goes back to the Perkins administration in Shreveport, in which this is new to me. If you recall, during the Perkins administration, Shreveport, the city council there tried to get an attorney independent from TGR City Legal Office. Perkins got wind and received an AG opinion that the council acted unlawfully. I think the council here was trying to avoid a situation where the city lawyers could invalidate the council's actions by claiming their attorneys were retained unlawfully. The charter requires the city used the legal office to obtain legal advice. The attorneys are for the council, not Richard Ray or Charles Jacobs. But by law, the legal office has to pay for it. I think Chris was right here, and unfortunately, Brian had real reservations that are warranted, but his fury towards Chris should really be more frustration at our poorly worded 2005 charter. But
I don't disagree with that, but as we're going to see, Jacobs has to chime in. Well, he was asked, and then he chimes in and pretty much says exactly what Hammonds was worried about. That's the point. I don't disagree with Wes, and I'm not saying, because Wes had another comment about the walking quorum, I'm not saying they did have a walking quorum, but I would ask the same damn question if it was Bubba Don or Free or any of the other yahoos sitting up there. Fair is fair.
And I got a couple of examples here of how this thing would go where I can support Brian's reservation on. I mean, look, they're both right. Brian's right in having reservations, and Chris is right exactly
and procedurally how they did. Yeah, procedurally how they need to do it.
They're both right. It's not that they're both wrong, but you're just at an impasse on the deal.
Yeah, it's not an either-or situation there, Wes. All right, here we go.
The legal department with officially engaging with them on behalf of the city council.
You see where my questions come into play on this. What I've been through for the past 60 days on this, the reason why we're at this point.
Yes, sir.
So you see where my worries lie.
The charter doesn't allow the city council to go out and independently, that responsibility lies inside the legal department. However, this is a law firm that the council has decided on, and the city attorney's office will just engage them and move forward. That law firm will know who they're working for. In this case, this is to advise the city council, and as president of the council, I will make sure that that those parameters are set.
Okay, I got one other question then.
Yes, sir.
So last year when we were going through term limits.
Yes, sir.
Did you pick our attorney?
I did not pick your attorney.
Okay.
I think
I had a conflict of interest in that, which I disclosed on the record.
I think he's talking about the Keen Miller opinion. And
No, I'm talking about the attorney that represented myself, Mayor Chandler, and you. And you had other attorneys representing the other 5 on the council.
That was Mr. Harper,
Yes.
Gary Harper, and he was chosen by the mayor and paid by the city.
So the mayor is not an attorney.
But did you guys have to reach out to him on behalf of the council?
We had a conflict, Mr. Ray and myself, because we had members of the council who were not in favor of term limits. The mayor, Councilman Hammonds, and yourself.
Did y'all hear that?
In favor of term limits.
Did everybody catch what he just said right there? He just finally openly admitted, I mean, we knew through their actions, but he finally openly admitted they were all against term limits. We all knew that, but just wanted to point that out.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a pretty significant disclosure that they were not in favor of term limits. So is that why they ignored their fiduciary duty to allow the voters of Bossier to vote on it? Was because they weren't in favor of it? I mean, we all know that's the truth,
Right.
that they opposed it, but what they said was basically that they didn't think that it was back then. It wasn't that they weren't in favor of it. It was something else. It was some legal.
Wasn't going to stand up to constitutional scrutiny. Remember?
Oh yeah.
They made that whole grandstanding legal argument that Richard Ray claims that they as attorneys weren't involved in. That's a whole other story. And we won't delve on term limits too long, but they made that whole legal deal that, but we don't know if it's going to stand up to constitutional muster by the Louisiana Supreme Court and all that. As it turns out, as we all knew, they were just against term limits for themselves, of course. All right. So do we want to keep playing through here?
Well, I mean, look, Chris and Hammonds go at it some more. And, the thing is Chris is trying to impress that procedurally we have to go through the attorney's office. And he's 100% correct. to pay for it, you got to go. I mean, the city charter says it. I mean, he's 100% right.
He is correct.
But
where he was wrong is he was not, either he was trying to ignore it or he just wasn't getting Hammonds's point. Hammonds's point is you can't trust, I think it was Haygood that said, or maybe it was Weston that said, you can't trust these slime balls at all. And if the money is routing through their department and they have access to the attorney, that's what Brian's had the issue with. It only took me about 15 seconds to figure out what Brian's problem was. And Chris just wasn't getting it or was trying to gloss over it. And then he asked Jacobs, and Jacobs, well, Jacobs said exactly what Brian was worried about.
Well, yeah, and that was the thing was I understood Brian, and look, Brian did not articulate what he was meaning. He was just assuming that Chris was going to, chime in there and I hate to say carry his water on what he was trying to say. Brian didn't articulate it well enough.
No, if he would have just said, hey, I don't trust these guys at the end of the dais down here at all, so I'm going to make sure we've got something in writing that is ironclad because these guys are sleazeballs. That's all he would have had to say.
But additionally, people need to realize that, look, when you're in the heat of the moment and you're up there on a contentious issue and you're having this debate and all this stuff, I mean, look, these folks are just like us. They wipe their butt and stuff their face the same as all the rest of us. I know that's a poor example, but they're not perfect either. And it's highly likely Chris wasn't thinking about what Hammonds was saying, and Hammonds is just, he's hell bent on what he's trying to do. He's not really, he doesn't care about that other. He doesn't even realize that he's not articulating what he's wanting or what he's trying to say correctly. And when you're in the heat of the moment, I mean, that's the way it is. The other councilmen, in my opinion, that are sitting back, they should have chimed in and tried to help clarity. I kept waiting for Colonel Crockett to walk up there and say what Brian Hammonds is trying to say. But he never did, because I was sitting here saying it. Damn, can I call in and say
phone a friend, Brian? Phone a friend. Yeah. Well, all right.
Armchair quarterbacking.
Oh yeah, in the heat of the moment. So, and I'm not faulting Chris really. Maybe a little bit. I'm not faulting Brian really because, should he have called these city attorneys in the meeting slime balls? Well, yeah, but still, I can see where he didn't necessarily want to say that. All right, but let's get to the point. I want to play this at the 123 mark because I think that's where Jacobs, well, let's listen to it.
For the record that you will have no other, outside of any formal engagement letter, you won't engage with this attorney at all?
Well, I would assume if she wants to investigate, if she wants to talk to me about what I did or didn't do, what Mr. Ray did or didn't do.
Brian's adjust right there.
The mayor, everybody that you requested statements from. I mean, I'll respond to whatever questions that she has and supply whatever.
Did y'all see Brian's reaction right there? So Chris literally said, was trying to get Jacobs to say, hey, let's assure Brian that you're not going to, have any. And what is Jacob? Well, if she calls and I'm going to have to tell her, for the record, blah, blah, blah. And Brian's like, see, told you.
he just validated. I mean, but there's cause for concern. I mean, because here's the thing. And I mean, look, we remember how, what was it, Keene Miller, and how fast they got that report back on term limits to the city. And I think that's kind of what they're expecting. It'll be a quick turnaround. And I suspect that this isn't going to be some long drawn out thing. But if it were a long drawn out thing, and let's say this law firm started, I mean, if it's an investigation, what if they hire a private investigator and then they have to send an invoice to the city attorneys, and the city attorneys now know that this law firm that's working for the council to investigate them, they now know that there's a private investigator chasing them.
That's a good point.
So they got to start dotting their I's and crossing their T's. So I think it's valid for Hammonds to say, I have my reservations about them being able to have any contact, but correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't somebody, maybe it was John Settle, suggested that, in the scope, in the description of who you're working for, when that law firm is attained, that has to be clearly delineated in there, and that would define things.
All right. So, I will call. All right. Well, I'm just trying to read through this. Oh, here we go. Let's go to the 124.49 mark. Here we go.
Attorney is simply going to take the report that you've put together.
I understand that. I'm not arguing with you on that, but I'm sorry that you can't understand what I'm saying.
I understand.
I'll move on. I'll vote, but just I'm tired of talking about it. Let's vote.
Listen up.
But Mr. Hammonds, no, excuse me. I'm sorry, Ms. Ross, but Mr. Hammonds, your words matter, and there are people out here, there are people that are going to pick us apart by watching this video that are going to cling to every word you say and make it sound like Chris Smith is sitting here trying to give the city attorney's office some sort of handout, and that's certainly not the case. The city charter is clear. Section 8, Chapter 8, Section 8.01 says that this is a function of the legal department. It doesn't say in Chapter 3, which is the city council chapter, that we have this authority, nor does our budget reflect that we have any available funds to do this.
I'm going to stop it right there. So, yeah, look, I don't think Chris was trying to, give the legal turkeys any kind of angle or anything like that at all. I agree 100% that he was trying to do this from a procedural standpoint, and like you said, Duke, from a funding standpoint. He's got to. All right, did I lose you?
Yeah, because I had somebody send me an image of somebody commenting, and said, "Is this true?" And so Jerry Castellani made a post, and she, something about the term limits thing. Chris was 100% on the term limits thing. I mean, so this is where things kind of get carried away. I didn't see.
That ain't exactly correct.
Okay, well, do tell, because as far as I know, Chris was 100%
he made one or two votes, and we excoriated him on this show, and it's nearly 10 o'clock, so my brain's not functioning at 110% like it was. But there were a couple of votes that he went along with. I'm not saying he was anti-term limits at all. Don't take this the wrong way, Chris. But there were a couple of votes, and we excoriated him on the show for that. And I've just got to think for a minute and remember what they were. So she's not completely incorrect.
Well, I don't remember that, and I'm going to take the position that that's wrong. Because I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty confident.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right.
Challenge accepted, Mr. Lowry.
Yeah, I don't.
And that is not a slight at Chris at all, because Chris was 100% behind the people's term limits, but he did make a vote or two that we were livid over or pretty upset over that went along with Jacobs and them, more so just to get along. So.
Yeah, Wes posted he voted to move the Charter Commission forward, unpopular but procedurally correct. Well,
yeah,
and that's right. And I remember
something else. Yeah, there was something else though, and I'll have to find it.
I remember that was unpopular. Wes is 100% correct, but for Chris, when he ran for office, that was one of the things he campaigned on. And in fact, the thing was he made a motion right out of it may have been the first year to, he put an ordinance, a resolution, or something forward to call a charter commission, and all the good old boys just completely shot him down. Right? None of them, they didn't want to have a damn thing to do with it.
That is true.
But he was one. And so then when it finally came around to trying to, they wanted to have a charter commission. Now we know it was because they wanted to try to kill our term limits thing. I mean, he was in that political box where if he voted again, he was damned if he did, he was damned if he didn't.
Well, let me just go back.
Let
me go back to this. Here's the deal. Your vote, whether or not you're in the winning side of the vote or not, says more about your character than anything. This is not a slight against Chris. I'm saying this in general. So, for instance, I think it was earlier in this meeting or the Friday meeting or whatever, Hammonds voted no. He wasn't going to win, but his vote said everything, okay? Even though he didn't win on that particular subject. So, I'm just saying, and I'm not hammering Chris. I'm not, because I think Chris is doing a fine job so far as council president, and in his second term as a city councilman. But the past is the past. It is what it is. And how they're moving forward is what it is. All right. So anyway, they go ahead.
You say what you want. You would not have term limits today if Chris Smith wasn't on board with it. And as bad as you would
100% agree.
You wouldn't have term limits today if Tommy Chandler would have been fighting it as well.
100% agree.
Y'all can be pissed off at me if you want, but you can't take that away. You can't.
Give credit where credit's due. Tommy signed the original petition, took pictures, did promote it, even if he did bumble around about it a little bit towards the end. Still, in the end, we got the term limits. It was an expensive, ridiculously hard fight by a whole lot of people. And again, I'm not trying to revisit that battle, but I'm just saying. That's it. All right. So, yeah, let's see. What part of the timestamp am I at? 125. Yeah, I think he is already. Let me hit play again for another minute or so.
We can't like the law this time and not like it this time. The law is the law, and Bossier City Chapter 8 gives only the city attorney the ability to go out and do this. The city attorney has just stated on the record that he is not going to interfere nor talk with the attorney unless she requests anything from them, but we're going to tell her that.
So that's like, pardon the phrase, ladies, you're either pregnant or you're not, Chris. That is not what Jacob said. But anyway, I see the point he's trying to get at, and he is procedurally and correct by the charter.
Here's the problem. This is the problem. Chris has he has the job of having to be the guy to lead all this council, arguably the strongest part of governance in Bossier City. And he's got to, he wants to see things change, but at the same time, it can't be just fire and brimstone. You got to slow down. He's having to control the tempo of things.
He has to be a little more politically correct.
That's right. And is that palatable to everybody, especially the people watching the show? Is that palatable to them? No, it's not. What they want Brian Hammond's approach. They want the Donald Trump approach. But he can't do that. Even if Brian Hammonds was the president of the council, Brian couldn't do that. He couldn't be Brian Hammonds. He would have to be more amicable. And I don't know. I mean, everybody's going to say, "Oh, Duke." I know what they're going to say, and that's fine. Bring it. I don't care.
Get that bucket off your shoulders.
Yeah, get that bucket off my shoulders.
Look, and again, I want to state for the record, I think Smith and Hammonds are doing a great job. I think the rest of the new council members are too. Vince is Vince, and he's going to be the laughing stock of it and our punch bag. That's fine. I'm not anti-Chris whatsoever, but I am just pointing out these little things. That's all. Just like I would if Hammonds were sitting up there and Hammonds was president of the council too, or Bubba Don, or Montgomery, or Jeffrey. So anyway, all right. So they went into executive session, and for a long time, like nearly an hour, I think, or 45 minutes, and they came out and they adjourned the meeting. So now I'm having another Richard Ray moment tonight. Did we not review the part where they voted to pick apart the executive session and remove and strip out the Scott's Audio, Bossier Power Equipment, and John Settle parts, and only discuss the specific case number that they had listed in the agenda?
Yeah, that comes here. I think you got to keep playing from this part because I think we get right here to it.
Okay, here we go.
Her scope is just to look over what we've already compiled and give us guidance on where we go from here. There's really nothing controversial here. We're just making sure that we've checked all our boxes, dotted all our I's, and crossed all our T's.
And that's exactly what I was asking for, was for that statement, and it never happened.
It did happen.
We went around
Absolutely,
the city.
sir. Absolutely. Respectfully, I told you multiple times.
Mr. President, can I move to call the question? I think we've discussed.
Well, Mr. Gerard, we haven't allowed public comment on this yet, so we can't call the question and avoid
And just for the
comment.
record, calling the question on another council member when they're having discussion has never happened.
Councilman.
All right, so see, this is where I got to correct Hammonds. It is not incorrect for Joel to make a motion to call for the question, and then that motion has to be seconded and it has to be voted on.
Yeah, and it has happened before. I specifically remember it happening in the previous council. So Brian was wrong here, but my point is again to everybody, and I don't care what y'all say about me, but you've got a contentious issue right here going right now. The president of the council, he is in the middle of it. He is debating, and he's keeping his cool. I thought he did a good job in handling all of this because I can tell you, having led meetings that were contentious like this, when you're freaking trying to lead it, it's hard to keep your cool and keep things flowing. It's not easy. And
yeah, you are 100%, or get caught in the moment. You're exactly correct.
I'm just telling you, it's not easy. It's easy to sit out in the chair and watch other people doing it. It's not easy to be in the hot seat and to be in that seat that he's having to be in right now. Take that to the bank.
I don't disagree with you. All right, I'm going to jump ahead to the executive session amendment part. Let's listen to that.
Executive session pursuant to Louisiana LSA 4217A2 to discuss negotiations with respect to prospective litigation arising from access issues created by the construction and completion of the Walter O. Bigby Carriageway project pursuant to LSA 4219A1B IBB. The parties to any prospective litigation are identified as the City of Bossier City, Bossier Power Equipment, Scott's Audio, and John Settle, as well as to discuss the ongoing litigation currently pending under Bossier Parish Docket 163260, City of Bossier City versus Moore Properties, LLP.
Mr. President, before we have a motion on this, I've got a couple of questions.
Okay.
Mr. Jacobs, do we have an engagement letter from Bossier Power Equipment, Scott's Audio, and John Settle?
An engagement letter?
Or do we have a letter stating that they are entering in a lawsuit against the city?
Mr. Settle.
A written demand.
A written demand.
From Mr. Settle.
Okay, he just removed that up here earlier. Do we have one from Bossier Power Equipment or Scott's Audio?
We have threatened claims of litigation.
It's a yes or no?
We do not.
Okay.
Not written.
Okay, words are useless. I would ask that there is no executive session for Bossier Power Equipment, Scott's Audio, and John Settle. That be removed.
Way to go, Brian.
Oh, all right, so you're making a motion that we amend this to remove Scott's Audio,
Bossier Power Equipment,
and John Settle?
Yes.
And only
That
discuss
was awesome.
Bossier Parish docket number 163260, City of Bossier City v. Moore Properties LLP?
Correct.
Mr. President, if I may.
Yes, sir, Mr. Jacobs.
We've quoted the applicable statutes. Executive session at the pleasure of the council is allowed when litigation is threatened pursuant to those statutory provisions that were cited in the request for the executive session.
Okay.
Now, I've got to stop it right there,
Has made a
folks. You'll want to later on rewind to the beginning of the show or go to our Facebook post. We literally showed you where what Jacobs just said, he was full of shit. So, all right. So they strip out the Bossier Power. They strip out Scott's Audio. They strip out discussion of John Settle. They leave whatever that existing case was. I guess we could go look up the case on Clerk Connect or whatever. And they went into executive session. They came out. They said no action was taken. And they adjourned the meeting. That's pretty much it. So, let's see. Yes, Mr. Marriott. Yes or no answer only, please. And Sad Owl says, words matter versus words are useless. Words to live by.
Well,
all right.
Overall, I appreciate the transparency so far that they've had. I mean, unfortunately, my take on what is happening here, my knee-jerk reaction is that's the same old thing that Richard Ray and them, they like this. Do I think that this action of trying to hire some outside attorney, that this is the reason why they're doing it? I don't think it is. But Richard Ray and them are happy because it does the thing that they always want. It's the same playbook that they used in the term limits thing, which was to delay, drag out, and however they could possibly do it.
Right.
But in this case, and to the point that Wes Marriott posted earlier on in the comments, there is some history to it would take longer to get an opinion from the AG on this, but I don't think that what we're talking about here is looking for an opinion from the AG. What I think we're talking about looking from the AG is an investigation. And I will go back, Alan Seaball went to the Republican wing of Bossier and said that the stuff, I think he was talking about us is what he was saying, because we were giving Liz Merle a hard time about not investigating nothing in Bossier. And he went over there saying something to the effect of that she can't come to Bossier and do nothing. Well, we showed the statute. That's complete, utter bullshit and false, because clearly the statute says that she can. It just says she can't prosecute unless or without the approval of the district attorney. She can investigate it.
Yeah,
there ain't nothing saying she can't investigate. Zero, nothing, nada.
Just like there's nothing stopping the state police from investigating this whole deal, whether the city council likes it or not. So, yeah, I will tomorrow on Bossier Watch publish the Keel letter reading from Richard Ray with one of our cute transcription videos, and Of course, we also encourage everybody to listen to Keel News in the mornings with Mike and McCarty, Mike and Aaron, because they get some great questions and answers done, or subscribe to their podcast, or all that sort of good thing too. So, when we comment and reuse their content, we always want to make sure and encourage everybody to also go to the source and listen and watch their stuff, or listen live on the radio in the mornings, when you're headed to work or whatever. All right.
Well, I don't know. This is what, 3 hours and 15 minutes, and we've maintained 100+ folks for over 3 hours and 15 minutes. Bossier City. I thought we were done talking about Bossier City, but yet here we are, and we're having a marathon show talking about Bossier City.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
knew?
but look, they did wrap 3 meetings into the span of 2 days. I mean, it's their fault. We're going 3 hours, folks. It's their fault. We're not making this stuff up. We didn't randomly make up these quotes. We're literally using their own words and stuff. Not necessarily against them, but showing what they're saying.
Yeah, and that's the purpose of this show, is to try to, while it was 3 hours, I can tell you, I mean, that we're condensing it and we're trying to cut through a lot of the stuff. I mean, we just did a 3-hour show covering condensed parts of what they have done. Think about the amount of time that these guys all have in all of this.
Oh, yeah.
They've got an extraordinary amount of time.
That they're really not getting paid very much at all for. It's like, what, I don't know, $10,000 a year, $12,000 a year, maybe.
Yeah, so I would caution people to not be as critical. I mean, give these guys a chance. Look, if they start doing the same stupid stuff that, that caused us to replace the majority of these folks, you know what? Then the solution is we'll go in and replace these guys. But we got to give them a chance to try to address things. We don't know everything. We got to give them the benefit of the doubt and give them time. So
yeah, I agree 100%. I am still 100% on board and have great expectations for the city council. Doesn't mean we'll always agree with everything they do, but I contend that all of them, and I hate to say even probably Vince Maggio, have the best interest of Bossier, and well, maybe sometimes themselves, like in the case of Vince. But anyway, they have the best interest of Bossier at heart, and I think they're trying to do the right thing. And look, as critical as I am of Tommy, I think Tommy loves Bossier City too. I mean, it's obvious by the number of selfies he takes. So, I don't think that they're as self-centered as some of the prior council members. So even when I'm critical of Mr. Smith or critical of any of the other council members, I'm still not negative. Just being a little critical, that's all. All right.
Well, all I know is I ain't racing Vince across a parking lot. That dude freaking they need to enter him in a thoroughbred race out at Louisiana Downs.
Must have juiced his heart up pretty good when he had his hospital stay or whatever that was. They got him motivated.
Yeah,
all right.
Dude can move.
Anything else, Mr. Lowry?
No, sir. Thanks everybody for hanging in with us for 3 hours. That is impressive. Outstanding on y'all's part, tolerating Rex for that long. I don't know how y'all do it.
I don't know how they can listen to me for that long, or you either, for that matter. And look, we appreciate everybody sharing out the content and commenting on all the other stuff we've been posting like mad on. We appreciate all that. The couple of people that have ordered a coffee mug or shirt or whatever. Let's see, y'all post some pictures drinking your coffee or wearing your shirt or wearing your hats, and let's see.
Yeah, hey, before I sent you a picture. Speaking of that, I sent you a picture. I went to the town hall meeting down in Sobo, and we had talked about that meeting just a little bit, but I go in, and right out of the gate, as soon as I walk in the door, bam, I see a Bossier Watch hat.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, come here. I got to get a picture.
Absolutely. And he's got the bright orange one, so you can't miss it. Definitely blaze orange. Good looking hat.
Jumped right out there at me. It was a good looking hat.
Yeah. Done by the good folks up there in Benton. Sarsh, what is it called? Sarsh Technologies, I think is the official name of their company. But anyway, it's Mike Collier's daughter-in-law up there. She does great work, and we appreciate those hats and everybody, including you, wearing your hat, Mr. Lowry.
Yep. All right, that's all I got. Have a good night, folks. Thank y'all for watching.